So officially for the second time, welcome back to the Forge. We hope you guys enjoyed tonight's podcast.
Oh, it's the third podcast.
Third one,
it's the
correct.
second time we're starting this
Why
one.
do I know that?
Yeah, how is that a thing already?
What do you mean?
Why'd you call it our second podcast?
No, the second intro. No, I was saying
Second intro.
Yeah, I was saying
okay, that's what I
second
thought.
intro.
That's what I
Yeah,
thought.
I
you
thought you
meant.
meant
Second intro.
podcast.
No, this is the 2nd intro. Like, you know.
Okay.
No,
Can I say the word?
it's okay.
Like, you
Yeah,
can.
of course.
You can.
Absolutely.
Okay.
This is not a family mother friendly show, okay?
Good. I was
want
worried
the
for a minute.
curse words. Okay. At the end of the day, business is real. It happens. There are real emotions. There are real feelings. And if anyone gets butthurt because we say fucking shit and this and that, you know what I say? Go fuck yourself. So
Yep.
that is what I say. And do you agree?
Oh, and people say like, "Oh, watch your language." I'm like, God, you should see me in the boardroom.
Yeah, of course. It's real.
Wait,
I mean,
they let you in the boardroom?
how many situations?
No, I storm into people's boardroom
Okay,
and just
okay.
start saying a lot. I don't do anything professionally.
Let's talk about that for a second. Let's talk about language
Which part?
in the real workplace.
Oh, yeah,
Okay, and
okay.
everyone's, you know, there's corporate worlds, there's corporate settings, and I'm not talking about inappropriate things, okay? There's a huge difference between being in an environment and being inappropriate and disrespectful to people, but at the end of the day, words are just words. So we express as human beings, we express ourselves vocally, and we express ourselves through emotions and words. I mean, so
Usually just through grunts.
Yeah, through
and,
grunts, of course.
Yeah, just kind of like our emotions.
So do you feel taken back when someone's like, "Oh, fuck this, fuck that"? Do you feel they're more passionate in what they're doing, or do you feel like they're being disrespectful?
To me, it's just efficient. I don't trust people who don't curse.
I like
well,
that
certain
word,
people
efficient.
people
That's a
who,
good word.
I guess people who don't curse for like religious reasons or something, you know, that's kind of different. But people who just don't curse, I always feel like, okay, you're running a filter right now. I want to see you without the filter. I want to see the direct line of what you're thinking.
Interesting. So you think they're putting a cloak in front of who they really are?
Yeah, because if you're going out of your way not to curse, what else are you going out of your way to kind of censor yourself?
I love
for?
that. That's a really interesting way to look at it.
I just like the raw, just, you know, it
Right.
saves time. If I'm talking to you
Mhm.
and I say, well, this motherfucker over here, like, you know, I mean that motherfucker over there.
So let me ask you this. Let's say we're in a room, we don't know each other, and, you know, we're being real, and you say, "This motherfucker over here," and let's say you direct that at me. I'm not saying you said it to me. There's a
Sure.
big difference between calling someone a motherfucker and saying motherfucker. Huge
Yeah,
difference.
Save that for the third date.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Of course. And
Oh,
that person.
nice party foul, man.
This is a great podcast so far, guys.
Yep, he
This is
just
going
Well, what's funny
found
about that is
himself
this
with
No,
morning-
there's a camera now.
Yeah, there is a camera.
There's a camera now, so they can see
But
all
can you
this.
tell everyone this morning what you did with your Cheez-Its as you dropped Cheez-Its all
that
over
was
the floor?
that was yesterday.
Yesterday, but
That
no,
was
today you dropped them all over your shirt as you were munching on Cheez-Its.
I'm a messy eater. What can
Yeah,
I say?
yeah.
I'm not afraid to admit that.
So back to the motherfucker line.
back to the mother.
Do you feel if someone heard that in your presence and they were taken back by that? Do you feel you would act differently around that individual?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, well, it's certain thing like in a professional context, you kind of gauge the person and you decide like, okay, like maybe I'll throw out
and
you know,
if
maybe a
they
baby.
if they reciprocate, then you know you're good to go.
Yeah, as soon as I hear somebody, you have no idea the calm that goes over my body when I hear somebody say the word motherfucker, because then I'm like, okay, this person, like we can do business.
This person.
This person,
It's such a satisfying word too.
Okay, but so what happens when they're taken back by it?
maybe and then you don't know, like, okay, maybe this person, like, for example, maybe this person like moonlights as a pastor, like, I don't know.
Right.
And so maybe if that makes that person perceivably uncomfortable, maybe you reel back a little. It's just a little bit like decency.
So do you change? Okay, perfect. So with respect,
it's respect.
comes respect. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
that's
not like
where
I have
think it
anything
comes,
against
right,
them.
gauge, right. So you pretty much walk into a room and we can gauge. I mean, we've been doing this for many years. I mean, think about all the shows we've been going to, all the conferences we've been going to. We've met a lot of people for the first time ever that we don't know how to, we just go with it. And you take that first interaction and you kind of roll with it. It's fun though, right? Like that first, I mean, to me, is it not the most, I don't know how to describe it. Is
Exhilarating
it exhilarating
feeling.
thing to walk into a room or walk into a trade show and hear about someone, know about someone, but never actually have that real life interaction with them. And that first time you're like, oh my God, how is this going to turn out? Like the CEO of X or the CFO of this. And you're like, do I have to put a tie on? Do I have to pretend
Right.
to be Will the nice guy? Or am I just going to say, fuck it? Let's do this thing.
And it depends on the context.
Yes.
It's like, are you on the show floor, like introducing yourself with a business card in your hand, or like, for example, like I was drinking with
the Circle Bar.
So I was drinking with the CEO of Palmetto State Armory last week, and this is the first time I've ever met this dude. Turns out I really like him. Like he's actually a very cool dude, and like we were sharing a bunch of stuff back and forth, and God, his like handler, like marketing manager that was behind him was horrified we were talking to each other. Like you could tell, like was sober as a judge, and we're talking specs back and forth. But that context is a lot different than if I was to meet him on the show floor.
Oh, for sure.
Probably wouldn't lead with things like mother. Probably.
This is very true.
It's all about context, though.
Yeah.
But
agreed 100%.
Let's back up for a second. I think we should introduce.
I love that. Thank you, because that's the whole time I'm thinking of this. Like, we need to give
we haven't introduced who Brandon
an actual
is.
right. Absolutely. So,
Yeah.
Brandon, can you please take the floor and tell us who you are?
You have 30 seconds because this isn't your show, and we don't want to
God.
hear.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
Wow, what a mother he is.
What a mother.
I love it.
I am just an internet court jester with
Excuse
a
me,
YouTube
court
channel.
jester. Please
Well,
get
at
closer
the
to
end
your
of the day,
mic.
there's a lot
God,
of
I'm
different.
sorry. Is this better? Is this better, Ben?
That's perfect.
That
I want
sounds
you right
really
up on
good.
it.
Okay. Oh, Jesus Christ. All right. Buy me dinner first.
Wow, that's what she said.
All right.
So there's a lot of different aspects to you. So let's kind of, because this is a really interesting
That's what
topic.
she said.
Let's kind of break them down. How long?
Nice.
Give us your intro.
Well, I just kind of a random mother with a YouTube channel, also known as the AK guy. So kind of a AK fanatic, always have been. Built a YouTube channel off of it, started building a business off of it. Now, so we build AKs, design all sorts of crazy. Really, design is where my heart's at. So new prototyping stuff, lean prototyping, lean manufacturing. The AK-50 is kind of how we had our rise to, I guess, any position in the industry. But
That's very much how we became friends. We had known each other beforehand, but then when you came to me and said, "Hey, I have this new thing I want to release," remember that?
I actually kind of forgot about that because I'm like, oh, I got this guy that I met.
I don't know if
that
I
has
should
all
be
these
insulted by
Instagram
that or
They're
like
having a bro-
honored.
They're having a bro moment.
That was
I
like,
feel left out of this, but I'm going to let them continue. Why don't you guys keep staring at each other, gazing in your eyes? Because I'm watching this from the background. And
you see the
enjoying-
glaze in the
I am.
eyes.
No,
Both
no,
of Ben.
the
Ben's
reality-
he's having a real. He's very
Guys,
excited.
the
right now.
reality
Go ahead.
here is that Will just doesn't know how to exist when he's not in the spotlight. So he's really
God.
struggling right now because normally
Do you want to like sit closer to one of us?
Actually, I was really happy with the little moment you were having, and I was enjoying it. I was just.
but
I
you
just wanted to
ruined
talk.
it.
Yeah, I don't
didn't
even know where we
ruin it.
were.
You stepped in.
No, okay, go back. I will quietly
We
just
can't-
take
we
my
can't
mic
go-
with me as I go back.
You can't go back into a
we can't go
moment.
back into a moment. That's it's not a moment.
You
anymore.
can.
I'll
because
try.
You've had bro
Okay,
moments.
okay.
Go ahead. Go back.
Because it was
to
like 2 months. I think 2 months after we met each other. It was like 2015. How does that feel? That's half a decade ago.
That's terrifying.
Yeah. Oh,
Jeez.
yeah. Actually, yeah. A little bit.
'Cause you really aged us fast.
Jesus. Okay. Yeah. We're.
Says the two youngsters, and then
Go
there's
for
Will.
yourself.
I was getting ready to say.
Go fuck
20s.
you.
Ugh.
No, that's crazy. God, was it really 2015?
Yeah. It was because it was the first Iraq veteran shoot I ever went to. Is where we met.
Holy crap!
Because I was just like I was a fucking young blood walking around there. I shouldn't even have been there.
I mean, same. I don't know why I was.
Wait. So
there.
how old were you?
Oh God. Shit. At the time, 19.
19.
Well,
and
and-
how old were you?
What are you? 25?
Yeah.
So I would have been 18.
Holy.
You would have been.
I'm
Hold on. You were.
so
I'm older than you.
You're older than me.
old.
Yeah, yeah.
Whoa. What?
Get back up on that mic, boy.
Mike,
What the-
Mike.
This is. I thought you were like 6 months older than me.
No, I am 24. And if you're 25,
Oh
then-
no, I'm sorry. I forgot my age. I legitimately forgot my age. Holy
Oh, boy.
shit.
Wait. Oh yeah, you are younger than me.
Yeah. Okay. That was.
I forgot
That
about
has-
that.
Do you know how fucking shitty you two are making me feel right now?
Sorry, bud.
Wait,
I
so
am
you're
so
only 24
old.
as well.
Yeah. I'm. 20. My birthday's in November, so I'm freshly
I'm in June.
24.
I'm in June, so I'm technically older than you.
See, I remembered.
Okay.
That was another promo.
It only took us an entire conversation to figure that out, but we got it.
But yeah, I forgot. I reached out to you afterward because I'm like, oh, I'm dropping this thing, and like at that point, that was the only thing I had. That was my only foothold in the industry.
Well,
was
I
this
mean, you had some
AK-50 idea.
pretty funny YouTube videos because I recognized you, which was
Oh
even
God! Here
weird.
goes the story. This goes back to podcast number 1.
we talked about this in podcast. We talked about
Did
you
you
in
really?
podcast.
Oh,
number
you told
one,
me that on the phone.
Yeah.
We did. He
Yeah.
was having a moment.
which is even more weird.
He was
because
saying how luscious your long hair was.
luscious locks.
Oh, dude, I had like my My hair was like an inch long at the time.
Yeah, they didn't.
Well,
the luscious
I
locks
was,
didn't
I was
exist back
talking.
then.
I think he's more in love with you now with your
Oh,
long
well,
hair.
that's fair.
I mean,
But
who
the
isn't?
moment was magical on on a podcast. I wish there was a camera. But go ahead, keep going. I keep interrupting.
So this is
I'm
where you
sorry.
go and download episode 1 of
Yes.
the Forge podcast. Just to
100%.
listen to
Perfect.
that.
It's a little
Yes.
terrifying, but perfect.
So the fact that we, at the end of the day, I mean, we've built a very strong relationship that has lasted many years. And I mean, we've seen the industry itself grow tremendously. And forget the industry for a second. How about the platforms that we all live on? From Facebook to Instagram to YouTube, and especially, my God, you are just killing it on YouTube.
It's about time. It only took me 10 years to figure out.
But you had dedication, you had consistency, and me and Ben, I remember when you were really hitting it hard, me and Ben were like, oh, we're going to hit it really hard. And then we did 4 videos and then we forgot about it a year later. And there you are.
I did that for 3 years though.
Yeah, but you were cranking every day and you busted your ass. The fact we're so proud of you to look at you.
Aw.
I mean, your subs, what are you up to right now? What's your subs at?
Actually, about an hour ago, we just got over 312,000.
Oh my God,
Wow.
I love it.
And at SHOT Show, you hit 300,000.
Yeah, on,
So that
on Wednesday.
was
when
that
we were
2
at the
weeks
X
ago?
yeah.
now?
So guys, make
Just under
sure
2
we're
weeks
gonna
now?
link everything. You got to follow this
It's been
man
2
right
weeks.
here.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
It's
It's
been
like
2
10
weeks.
days.
it's been
I
2
think.
weeks. No, it's been 2 weeks.
Today's
Today is
Can you
Tuesday.
take that microphone with you every time you back up? Because you're
sorry. Today's
okay,
Tuesday.
perfect. There we go.
It's Tuesday. Please don't hit
Just
the
stay
camera
in one spot.
or
Just
the,
arch
or the
over.
liquor.
Arch over.
So today's Tuesday. We hit it at Wednesday. So yeah, it's been about. Oh God, yeah.
And
You know
you're
what?
so that
So I
means
was
you're,
down for like a week because I had that flu.
Congratulations.
that means
I'm
you're
so proud of
growing
you.
faster than 1,000 a day. Like,
And we had that conversation on the phone about how you're, what you expected for your daily growth. How you don't want to use the term, you don't want to cap at a certain daily growth rate, correct?
Yeah, no, it wasn't on the phone. It was actually in person. I think.
No, we were on the phone because I was walking
Really?
around looking at watches. I remember. I was looking at artwork at the moment, actually.
I
I was at
think
an art gallery. I was
were
on the
you?
phone with you.
I think we had
That's
this
when I was
conversation
asking-
twice actually because we had it
No,
at shot
because
too. I
it was
think.
when I asked you to do the exotic cars with us.
now they're having a bro moment.
Yeah, now we're having a moment.
Yeah, we are. But I was
This
asking,
is
hey,
really
I was like, hey,
nice.
do you want to get in some sports cars and drive around? And then we were talking about, I said it'd be great for the channel.
He really had
something
to twist
different.
my arm. It was
I know,
really.
quick.
It
Do you
was
want
a-
to drive supercars? Let me do this.
I got a couple of meetings at the show. I really don't know. I'll make it happen for you guys. Okay.
That was a fun
Vlog
time,
on
wasn't
the
it?
YouTube
Oh my
channel.
God, that was awesome.
So was that your first experience ever driving a supercar?
Yeah, no, 100%. Because that's something that we had looked at doing before, just
Mhm.
kind of for the photo aspect of it, like just renting a supercar, taking
Right.
photos in the desert, like that. But holy, that was a lot of fun.
Was it? So getting in the car for the first time, you were in the Hellcat, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah, you were in the Hellcat. So that car, MSRP on that car, they're hard to
Disappointingly low.
get. Well, I mean, compared to the 720S, the 911 GT3 RS, the Lamborghini Urus, yes, it was the lower end, but in performance stats,
I was about to
Oh
say
my
the
God.
power
you
behind
had
that
you
thing,
had
dude.
an amazing power to weight ratio, and the big thing about the Hellcat is
But
its
900
ability-
horsepower or some shit.
a little bit under that, but it has the ability to hook up. So you have the ability to. It's a straight line car. You look at the McLaren 720S, and it's a track car. It has aero. It has diffusers. I mean, there's a lot of different aspects to that car. It's a track car. Where the Hellcat is what we would call, you get in the mother, and you just roll with it. You punch it. So with that being said, your first experience, and I did push a button for you later down the road,
Which
that opened
was
the vehicle up a little bit more, but.
the fact that there was a button scared the shit out of me because the whole time I'm like, this car has almost fucking killed me 8 times. And
Did you have an okay? So I obviously wasn't in the car with you. I saw the vlog. But was there a moment where you were like, "Oh,
Mike,
you have
Mike
those
had
moments?
a few of those moments
really?"
when we were, yeah. Mike had a few of those because Mike was trying to
Oh,
just kind of,
poor Mike.
he was just trying to film, and I feel for him because I barely had control over this car.
And you were the one in the driver's seat.
Exactly, because like he's in the passenger seat. He knows I've never with one of these things before, so he's just like, ugh! And just those involuntary noises he kept making. I'm like, you okay, buddy? He's
And
like,
I
yeah,
bel-
try
I
not to
believe
ruin it for you.
We even mentioned that in the
Yeah,
vlog.
didn't he say his butthole was puckered? Is that what he said?
Oh, I
Something
had to
about his-
rip him out of the upholstery. Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah.
So
I don't blame him.
the
Well, and then
joys is
he-
Mike never got in the car with me
Yeah, that would have been
because
a whole nother world.
I would have scared the living out of him because I mean I'm
you
not
scared
gonna
the living shit out of me.
Now what I'm about to say boys and girls and everyone that's listening, we were in Mexico at the time.
Yes,
we were driving.
We did not go over.
We were very fortunate.
55.
Well, no, correct. When we were in the great U.S. of A., we were in, and we abided by all U.S. speed limits. But
any similarities to real events that may or may not have occurred are purely coincidental.
Agreed. And we were in Mexico at the time. So when I got passed at 178 miles an hour, got passed at 178
We're going to have to talk to our lawyers to see if I have to bleep that.
Correct. But we were in Mexico, so it doesn't matter. We were in Mexico at the time.
I'm still not sure. We'll have to double check.
Okay.
Well, I know that we were at a private track for a little while. Like
there
we were
we go. Yes.
Right, we were at that private
exactly.
track, which that helped tremendously.
Where was this private track?
So
why were there other cars on this private track?
There wasn't. It was us.
Yeah,
it was
no.
only the
Well,
cars
there
that
was
we had.
There really was that time where we were out there on private.
No, this is
property
true. This is
It was
true.
private property, but I mean, long story short,
which was fun.
All
was
kidding
fun.
aside, these cars are very fast. And just to kind of do a little side note, if you guys are ever in Las Vegas and you want an amazing experience and you want to do something that is affordable, because at the end of the day, listen, all kidding aside,
Vegas is not affordable.
That's not where I'm going with this, but sports cars, supercars, they're very expensive. Insurance is very expensive. You're talking about $500,000 in a car. So if you want to do something and have you and a buddy go out and do something, Royalty Car Exotics gives an opportunity. Royalty Exotic Cars, I screw it up all the time.
He's less okay.
They're amazing people, and they have a fleet of supercars that you guys can check out and rent for a very affordable price. So if you and a friend, you can split it, and it's amazing 6 hours.
Totally worth it.
And honestly, the amount of trust they put in you is amazing, because that process of signing the paperwork and everything was, I was shocked.
They're handing you a key to 800 horsepower. They're like, oh, hey, buddy, here you go.
Not gonna lie,
I got a story for you.
I think it's easier to rent one of those than it is to, like, when we rented our Suburban when we got into town.
Oh, let's not even talk about that.
Well, let's not talk about. Yeah, let's talk about.
It's easier to rent one of those than it is to rent a gun, and I can do a lot more damage with a sports car.
That's true.
Absolutely,
that's true. You're not wrong.
Oh my God, 100%.
Let's talk about Brandon though. I want to circle back around a little bit.
So you do YouTube.
We brought you here
you're
for
killing
a reason.
You're killing YouTube.
I'm here to hang out. What the hell are you guys talking about?
But let's talk about what you originally said when you introduced yourself. You love design. So what are you designing? What are you doing?
Well, we got a couple of projects that. Well, here's the hard part: is the vast majority we haven't announced.
Okay.
Because I learned from the 50 that if you announce a project and you're not ready to deliver on it immediately, the internet is very, very ADD.
It's interesting though, because that's what also made you like famous. That's part of the reason.
Small scale on that one, yeah.
Right. That's part of the reason that you were able to build an audience, is because you did a very good job of continuously building the suspense, which I think is very tough.
Still
to
building.
Do. Still building.
Still building. One of these days, it's kind of like the fucking water park thing that spills over.
Yeah.
It's filling up. It's filling up. One of these days, it'll dump.
Well,
nobody knows.
What you did is you started it, and I remember when we first talked about this, you told me you were going to do this. The journey of you achieving this thing, because you're not like this big corporation who has millions of dollars to put into R&D and stick a person in a lab and they make it work. Mm. You are literally you
testing
and a couple other people, other teammates, making this thing from the ground up. So and you didn't start up. You didn't start with a 22. You started with a 50.
Right.
Oh, it was a retarded idea. Yeah.
And if I remember correctly, through some R&D, you've had some very close calls, correct? With testing?
Oh, I've broken all sorts of.
Aren't you half blind still, or did that heal up finally?
I mean, would you mind sharing that one story that I believe there was a story where you shot that and it didn't go very well?
Well, there was one of them. There was one. I broke my clavicle on the 50 a while back because we were having our galling issue.
You broke your clavicle?
Yeah, because I insist on shooting it.
I'm sorry, let me rephrase this. I don't want to say the word shooting. From testing a weapon that you designed.
I'm messing with you.
That you designed.
Oh, yeah.
I remember distinctly when you told me you were having an internal debate on if, like, you could not stand the concept of pulling a string for that first test fire. Like, you had to be behind the gun.
Oh, right.
Well, I didn't shoot the very, very first one.
Well, I'm talking about like a more complete version of the gun. you
Yeah,
know?
that one. I think it was like
once there was a trigger group and everything.
scared the shit out of everybody who was involved. It was like the 5th round that ever went out of that gun, and people were saying like, oh, maybe the 100th, maybe the 200th. When you know it's safe. 5th. It was the 5th. I was hiding behind a sandbag, but yeah, that thing was in my
Crazy,
hand,
dude.
and it's something. It's my baby, man. Like I'm
Were you scared,
connected.
or did you just know? Did you just want to pull the trigger?
Well, both. I mean, I was scared, but I wanted to pull the trigger. But yeah, it was back to something you had said before. Triggered my memory. Yeah.
The journey. You created a series where you were able to bring your audience on a journey through this, so that anticipation of this thing eventually becoming a real product, a production product, wasn't nearly. It didn't fade out because you continually showed people what you were doing. The fact that you were
coming on Monday, by the way.
There you go. The fact that you were actually doing something, which I think helped a lot.
It was kind of interesting because it turned into less of an angry thing, like, oh, when's the AK-50 coming out, and more of like, when's the next update?
Right.
Like, what's going on with it?
Right.
And a friend of mine, Tyler from Thunder Tactical, actually, on a podcast, I don't know what podcast it was. It was on his live stream, but he had pointed out for the first time, like, while we were on air, like, I think that's the first time that's ever been done in the history of firearm development.
Like
I think
100%.
That is the first
Really?
time anybody has ever gone from inception, like not released after the fact, but like, hey, we're working on this project.
Right.
Here's 20-minute episodes of us working on it and failing and working on it and failing and showing the development of that gun. I don't think that's ever been done.
Wow.
And I want to touch on that from a marketing perspective because you never know who's listening. But the fact that you were able to take your journey, your good and bad, turn it into content, build a channel off that content that has
milk the out of it.
Right, hence blown up. Ultimately, you will have a completed product, hopefully. I'm very
Fingers
confident.
crossed, knock on wood.
Yeah, I'm very confident in saying that I think you will achieve that.
Oh.
So you have just successfully built a massive social presence and a product that has never been made before. I think that in its own right is, dare I say, incredible.
It really, because you hit all facets at the same simultaneously. You took on, it's like one challenge wasn't enough. I was like, well, I know I have to do X, Y, and Z, but I'm just going to do X, Y, and Z together.
Well, it's it just so happened to start working out because before I was just an idiot for doing it for a lot of years.
You mean like a guy that would just, throw paint up in the air and we would just splatter paint?
Kind of like that guy.
Oh no!
Oh my gosh!
Because we're not stopping there. I mean, you guys know some of the stuff I'm working on because I really shouldn't show you anyway, but I get excited like a giddy little kid.
And possibly we have a project that we've talked about for a couple of years.
We've talked about a couple.
We randomly just talked about again tonight because we both thought about it.
Honestly, I hate that one because I know it has to happen.
It does.
People ask about it so much.
Which one is this?
We can't talk about that, but
we can.
I mean,
I can't. I don't.
You can hint at it, so I can remember what you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, so that was the one that.
It's round.
Oh yeah.
Wait. Time out for a second. Time out. Let's get. Wait. So people have really talked about that?
People have.
Do you know I haven't forgotten? Do you know I haven't forgotten about it? And do you know? So what we're gonna do afterwards? Do you know how many drawings I have?
Oh, I have the CAD.
Oh, you do?
Oh, yeah.
Is this like good? We're talking about something without actually saying about it.
So,
is this good podcast material or?
So I'll go ahead and say it because I actually don't give a but
don't ruin it for us.
I just think it's one of those things that do you want to talk?
I mean, I feel the reason why because listen, it's not like we have many viewers, but
I don't give a shit. I don't know about you.
But it's never been done before. That's the thing. I mean,
AK-50 drum mag. Oh.
That was asinine.
There it was.
There it was. That was retarded. Anyhow, so, there's some people that could potentially have a head start on that.
It's one of those things. If they're... whatever.
But I would like to sit back down with that and, I think it's one of those fun things. It's fun.
I think that's fun. I don't think it's $1 million idea.
No, it's not about the it's a fact that we saw a need and it's just here's the thing.
You say need very loosely.
Why not?
It's so stupid. It's amazing.
Exactly. It's a why not.
Right. Here's the thing. People ask all the time. They're like, people assume the AK-50 holds 30 rounds. And I'm like, oh, got it. So you've never shot a 50 cal before.
Yeah.
It's like if you want 30 rounds of 50 BMG, I promise you have never shot a 50 cal.
Yeah.
Or you're just a crazy person.
It's not Arnold Schwarzenegger with his Desert Eagle that's unlimited rounds that has 55,000 rounds in it, you know.
I mean, it could
That's
be.
another thing. People don't understand the scale of 50 BMG.
Right. Mag capacity, 50, even 50 AE is massive. I mean, no one gets that. But
yeah. Well, no, 50 AE is massive compared to every other handgun caliber. But holy,
yes. And 50, right.
50 BMG is like 4 times longer.
God, right. So can we talk about a quick? I'm going to go to the development. Excuse me. Of the how do you feel about the 338 Lapua?
The 338 Lapua is very expensive, but it's an excellent cartridge for what it does.
But do you feel there's a trend at the moment that everybody's kind of on this kick?
Here,
of
before you
338?
dive into that, we're gonna pause this video because we don't know how to.
You didn't set a timer, did you?
We did. I absolutely.
Oh, okay.
set a
And what's it
timer.
at, Will?
We're at 25 minutes 53 seconds.
Perfect.
We're good.
So we're
That's
at
why
27 minutes. So
Correct,
I'm
we're
gonna
at
go.
27
reset.
He already
minutes.
mentioned it, so let's go.
Yeah,
ahead
let's go
and-
do that. So this new this kick, I would call for the 338. You have Dylan coming out with something.
Mhm.
You have Sig coming out with something. Do you feel it's a cartridge you want to be anywhere around?
So now I have to be very careful as to what I say because I forget what is and isn't public, and I'm too lazy to check.
I mean, you kind of gave it away right there.
No, I'm not involved. I could say that very easily. I'm not involved in anything related to it.
Okay.
I forget just my assessment with it.
So
I'm
what's your
involved in a
opinion on
few
the round
projects
itself?
with it.
What about the round itself then? Do you feel it's a round that is going to surpass the 50, or there's a different need and want for the 50?
Definitely, it's a different role for sure.
Okay.
Because ballistically, 338. I mean, you can pack a lot of power into it, and of course, mass times velocity. You can get a lot of energy out of it at long range, but it has the ballistic coefficient that the 50 BMG does not have.
Right.
Because the 50 BMG is honestly ass as a sniper cartridge. People don't understand that. People think
asses. Right. Well,
they think the Barrett, two mile kills. It's like, no, that thing can kill you at 3 miles.
Of course.
Well,
But
and
it's just not gonna hit
inaccurate.
you.
Yeah, it's inaccurate. as
Right.
fuck.
It was developed for vehicle.
Anti-material.
Anti-material, correct. Round. It was
It's
going,
literally
it was going
illegal.
through engine blocks. It was a reason.
The Geneva Convention actually bans it for use on anti-personnel.
No, they did not.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Really?
think about it. When it hits something,
Well, like
a
fletching
person,
round. Are
Which
you
is
familiar-
retarded.
are you familiar
I
with
think
fletching?
that's honestly, yeah.
Fletching rounds?
Flechettes?
Flechettes. Excuse
Yeah.
me. Flechettes.
if you're wasting a 50 on a person anyways, then
Yeah.
you're in a desperate situation.
I always think that's funny because they're like, oh, it's inhumane. It's like inhumane. Inhumane is dying from like 14 rounds at 22 LR. I
Right.
want to get waxed by a 50 because
Right,
it's
if-
over pretty
Yeah,
so
if
why
you get hit in the head with
how
a
did you
50,
pronounce
you're
that?
not there anymore.
Fletching?
Flechettes.
Flechette.
Yeah, it's
So
French, I
why?
guess.
So why is it that a flechette became on the hit list for the Geneva Convention?
Have you seen a
Do you know?
flechette?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it'll
Rad.
you
Right,
up.
because you can't. Well, one, because it's like the 3-sided knife, for example. So there's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
knife that's on
The
the
triple
same
bladed
character-
bayonet.
a triple bayonet. The triple.
You all right, bud?
Triple.
Let me take this Johnny Walker
Let
over
me-
here. Ben, you want some?
Say that one more time. A
Triple bladed bayonet.
triple bladed bayonet.
triple bladed bayonet.
So
Yeah, say
essentially,
that
you
3
can't
times
sew
fast.
the suture.
Or it's harder anyway. If you're
Harder
trying
to sew up the suture and stop the bleeding.
Yeah,
correct?
so it's
That's the
kind
reasoning
of one of those
behind that?
things. You've already taken this motherfucker out of combat.
Right.
So he is no longer an enemy combatant.
Right.
Now you're just making it a bitch for the surgeon.
Got you. So and the
The flechette.
flechette round is the same principle.
So I wasn't familiar that was taken out of service, but I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all because that's kind of a there's rifles where it's like I see you, and then there's a flechette, which is just kind of to whom it may concern. Here's 50 nails at 1,000 feet.
Right,
per
that's
second.
more of like I just want to cause you pain rather than
Well,
I'm
or is
trying
it
to protect
casualty?
myself.
Is it unwanted casualty? Possibly bystanders? Is that where they're going with that?
Honestly, I have no idea. I don't think it's a bystander thing because usually the Geneva Convention it's one of those funny things where, as up as war is, as terrible as it can be,
Right.
the Geneva Convention is kind of the table that people go to. Like, hey, this shit was so fucking bad. Let's all agree to never do that
Right.
again.
Like chemical warfare or something.
Right.
Oh, God,
I mean,
yeah.
it's horrific. And I mean, seriously, it's no joke. Nothing is a joke. I mean, that's a very serious situation. War is nothing, nothing to joke about. But
Some of that shit, like if it's so bad that
Yeah.
the entire world that is currently at war. Because I believe it started in World War I.
Right.
And everybody was currently fighting each other. And they sat down at a table and were like, hey, this is really f***ed up. Can we not do these 3 things?
Right.
That's saying something.
Yeah, that's saying some real shit.
Let's pivot again.
Yeah, because we got off topic real quick.
Yeah, that was way off topic. But hey, it's all good.
Fantastic.
That's what we're here for.
Well, I mean, he is the new Lord of War, as he put in one of his videos, correct?
I just couldn't resist the thumbnail.
It was so good. The thumbnail was awesome.
And how many views did that get you?
Oh, it's over 250,000. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
The big thing was industry
God, I love
industry views. That was the big surprise for me at SHOT Show is how many people at like Supplier Showcase.
Really?
I was going up to like, well, I was going to name companies, but like bigger companies, and some of which actually some of their stuff was involved in the deal. And I was walking up to their booth, like trying to get parts quoted, and they were like, "Oh, I just showed everybody around, everybody at the table, the video. Like, can we help you with X, Y, and Z?"
Dude, that's crazy.
Wow.
That's like twofold. One,
Man, that shows some real wow.
one.
I wasn't expecting it, honestly. That took me by surprise.
And you're talking about people that like industry. You're talking about industry.
At Supplier Showcase. So like Supplier Showcase, I tell people Supplier Showcase is SHOT Show behind the curtain. Like the real stuff at SHOT Show happens at Supplier Showcase because that's where you see the actual players that are making stuff, talking to each other, and getting quoted, getting made, making connections. Oh yeah, because that's where all the manufacturing stuff happens.
Wow, interesting.
I love it because that's a perfect transition into kind of what I wanted to talk about next.
And I don't want to interrupt you.
Sure.
I don't take it away, but the fact that it shows what he's doing is real.
Well, that's exactly my
you're
point.
Right. Like it's not just for entertainment of consumers or the audience.
Oh, I didn't accidentally look competent, did I?
You're putting up real things that real buyers, real people with checkbooks that are writing the checks and they're buying things are going for a source of information. And they're buying.
Well, I mean,
by the way, if anybody wants to buy about like $700K worth of AR, hit me up via DM on Instagram.
Yeah, how's that going? How's that going?
I've got a couple meetings. It's one of those things where there's a lot of tire kickers, obviously, but it's I have to weigh how much I want to make a return,
right?
Like just an ROI versus the quick buck because
just getting rid of it.
Because I'm not in the AR market,
right?
the AK shit I can build, AK shit I can get rid of, AR stuff. I don't want to make that. I don't want to make that stuff.
For those that haven't seen the video, give us a 30-second rundown on what the hell you're talking about. Why is there $700,000 worth of AR parts in this conversation right now?
So I made a recent parts acquisition of a bunch of AR-15 stuff, AK stuff. It's a long story.
Go watch the full video on YouTube. We will drop a link to that below, or however this podcast thing works.
Basically, financially, I went out on a limb and I picked up a deal I just couldn't refuse, and been suffering for it ever since. But it's working out okay.
Content, guys.
Yeah, the content is going to be great, especially in a couple months if I can't sell all this and like I'm getting my repossessed. It's going to be really good.
At least you'll make the YouTube money, right? All the YouTube money.
Oh, you're serious? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Sure.
So
go ahead, Ben.
What I've been trying to get at is let's go and talk about the YouTube. Let's have the YouTube conversation.
Perfect. Thank you.
Because I mean, me and you and Will have had this conversation before, but for our listeners, I want kind of the story from the point where you started seeing this as a viable source, both for money-making venture
and motivation.
Yeah, money-making venture
to keep going,
to sustain yourself and sell product, and then also just everything that comes with that, because it's a whole nother world. The
motivation to continue to go. That's our biggest thing. Like, I signed off today our last vlog, and I was like, hey guys, make sure you like and subscribe, because the more you guys do that, the more I'm motivated to do this, because it's a lot of work. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't care who you are, have a cameraman or not. There's editing involved. There's a lot of work to YouTube. So when you put a video and you put your heart into something and it's like, okay, wow, that just got 3 views. That sucked terribly.
Especially if you spend a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
Like if you do something that's really crazy, like the sports car or something like that, and you get 100 views, you're like, dude, what the fuck am I doing?
Or like, how is it? We've hung out with Post Malone. How many times and you look at
Drop
every
that
other.
big little comment there.
Yeah,
again,
yeah, seriously.
How many times we hang
No,
out with
I don't
Post
mean it
Malone?
like, I don't mean it like that.
I
But
know,
I'm
I
using
know.
it as a great example. It's like,
But it's a
what-
great opportunity
Like
to razz
what
you.
the what the do I have to do? Like, are you kidding? Every other Post Malone video has millions of views, and then all of a sudden there's, Will and Ben, and we have like 200. Are you
Well,
kidding me?
I mean, let's back up a second because I really want Brandon to be able to talk. But if you're going to get into YouTube, and I think you can speak to this, you have to do it because you enjoy it, because you want to create. You enjoy.
Dad, I want to
creating-
make money.
Agreed.
No,
Money,
I'm kidding. Sorry.
money is awesome, but the amount of work and effort that goes into it before you make the money they do not equal out, at least
No.
within probably a 3-year space.
For sure. No, and there's a lot of raw ambition involved as far as like the people. Everybody who starts YouTube wants to get big.
Or you
Period.
just like looking at yourself in the camera. I don't know. It could.
Yeah. I didn't used to do that either. I was always I was hypercritical of everything I put out early on. So I've had like 3 YouTube channels. I've been doing YouTube since like maybe 2006, 2007.
Oh my god.
So how old
I
were
got
you?
I got both
Like
of you
10 back then?
beat. I've been doing YouTube since it started.
Yeah.
There are videos.
When was that?
Yeah. When did it start, Will?
I don't know.
2005. I started in 2006.
Oh well, then I guess
Yeah.
I did it right there.
We
I
were
guess
doing about
right.
probably.
I
the
guess
same
so.
time.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Let's
It was
see. In
so old.
2005, we were 10.
Yeah.
I own the.
I had an airsoft channel.
Really? Did you
dude,
really?
okay, so talk about legitimizing, coming full circle. I was in the media room this year at SHOT Show, and some kid came up to me in a collared
told me
shirt
that.
with the Airsoft Station logo. I was airsoftStation.com. I'll shout him out because on his shirt, and they were the first company that ever sponsored me for anything. They sent me $1
No way.
like $30 airsoft gun or something because I called the owner and he's like, whatever, the internet's big, I guess. Sent me some like defective I don't remember what it was. And
Wow.
this kid came up, he's like, oh my God, I love you so much. I'm like, Airsoft Station? Are you fucking kidding me?
Are they still around?
Yeah. And I
That's
because he was there
fucking cool.
for them. And I had never kept up with him or anything like that. It was a channel. I deleted it
Wait,
years
when the hell
ago.
did you have an airsoft channel? How
How
long
many-
ago?
how many
God, I was in
viewers- how
middle
many-
school, man.
How
It
many
was-
subs did you have?
I deleted it at 3,000, which I should have kept.
Wow.
Dude, you would have been huge right like now.
Oh my!
Well, that's another one. I
God.
had a gun channel that I deleted at like 4 or 5,000, which was
Why,
like
I'm curious.
what year?
6, 7
why?
years ago.
Why did you do that?
Yeah, no, there's so many channels that I deleted that I'm like, why the f- did I do that?
So I mean,
Wait, so you're OG? I didn't know this.
you're OG.
I was growing alongside of like GY6 vids back in the day. Like we were actually the same size at one point.
So why did you delete your channel?
Wait,
I got tired of it. It was one of those things. I wasn't
Did you
providing
know
the
this,
right
Ben?
content.
I did not know. I'm amazed.
I had no
Really?
idea.
No, me neither. You've never told me this. No.
I don't talk about it a lot because it's like the videos. I wasn't proud of the video content. It was
Wow, this is some
It
real.
was okay. It was all right. I did like Call of Duty videos in real life. I'm pretty sure I've got them in like a CD
No way.
somewhere.
In a CD.
Yeah. Like
Would you
like
ever
DVD
consider?
ROM
Would
or
you
some
ever
shit.
consider bringing those videos back out?
Oh my god.
I'd
like-
have to find them.
That's got to be like
They're
a
not on
million,
the internet.
That's
I've
like
looked.
That's got to be like a 1 million subscriber special sort of deal.
Yeah, because I mean I've
Yeah,
looked
that's-
for them. I've tried to
That's some
find
really special.
because I want to watch them. Like I want to see where I kind of came from on this.
Well, and that's our biggest thing with YouTube. You know, we're as I punch the mic in my face.
If we ever break 10,000 subs, I will post the video.
we're still
My high
we're
school video.
we're still learning.
What video?
Oh, that's a whole nother story. We're not.
I
even-
will post. The
we're
high
not
school,
even going down
I
that
will
road
post
right
the
now.
high school video.
But we
Oh, I wanna
started
see the-
our channel
Bad.
because we
Oh,
do.
yeah?
It's bad.
Oh my gosh, guys.
Ben doesn't want to talk about it, so I think it's about Ben.
You have no idea.
We
If I could ever tell you, if you want an insight to me, I was
it
seven.
explains.
I was 17 years old. I'm 35. I was 17 with a VCR camera, and I mean a VCR. I mean that you
Oh, yeah.
literally had
Like
a
the
fucking
tape.
VCR
The
tape,
tape.
in it, and that's how we did vlogs
It explains
I did
so much about
vlogs
Will. It's terrifying.
20
It's
years
like,
ago.
I know more about Will now than I ever wanted to
And-
because of that
Oh,
video.
and
no,
beyond
how?
that,
what kind of video is this?
There's raw footage of my 3 best friends. There's raw footage of us, like at 15 and 14 years old, where we had cameras. When we did transitions, we had to hook up 2 VCRs together. The 2 VCRs, you had to stop, pause, and that's how you record it and how to transition on footage.
That is
So this
That is
shit is
so
so
old school.
old. And if we'll watch it later, we're gonna go off camera because this is a private moment. So I would love for you to see it. But
I would love to watch this.
yeah, it's fucking bonkers, man. But go ahead, Ben. I'm sorry.
Anyways, what I was saying is that we started YouTube because we do so much cool, and I mean this sounds kind of I don't know
Braggadocious.
a little bit maybe I don't know, but that's not the point.
It's objectively true though.
Right.
You do a lot of cool.
Where
you do shit that I think is
and we
cool.
forget how fucked up is that? We forget about some of the cool things we do. Are you spilling alcohol on our table?
That's
At
okay.
least I spilled
A little
mine
bit,
on the
it's a little-
floor.
It's meant to be spilled.
I don't know. This is
Yeah,
really
but-
nice wood. I feel actually bad.
But
about
can
that
we
now
be
that I look at
realistic?
it.
Can we be real for a second though? Like, Ben said, "Oh, we do all this cool shit." Yeah, we do, but we only show the cool shit.
Well, exactly. That's the 5% of reality,
Right, like we
Yeah,
were saying when you were out of the
yeah.
room, 3%. Do you know how fucking hard it is? So fucking hard and so much work when you're not. Look, listen, if we were just work, if I had $100 million, Ben, we all sat in this room and had $1 million. This wouldn't be fucking hard, and we could all do whatever we want, but we don't. Okay, we all make at the end of the day. I would consider it minimum wage for the amount of hours that we put in.
You make money.
That's why I'm saying minimum fucking wage.
I mean,
We're able to survive.
perception is
People don't
everything.
realize, when we're working, we work sometimes 18 hours a day.
But in the same token, though, one, I wouldn't have it any other way.
no, that's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is the
Oh, yeah.
people that are fucking out there and they're working 9 to 5 and they're making 80 grand, 100 grand a year, and they're like, oh, we can't do this. You fucking can if you want. But what you're not realizing is we're making 20,000 a year, but it's not about it's longevity. We're looking
Yeah.
at the end game. We're looking at freedom. We're looking at experiences.
Experiences.
We're
And
looking-
nobody shows it because nobody would watch it if we did.
Right. That's
That's
true.
the biggest one.
That's
Because
true.
there was times I was honest to God, really unhealthy about it. Probably about 6 months ago, I was going through like a really rough patch where I was just a workaholic.
Oh,
I was
man.
working 50, 60 hours straight at a time, multiple times a month. And it's the kind of, and it was all boring that nobody would want to watch.
Right.
And people were commenting. It was actually getting to the point where it was bad in videos. People were saying like, go to sleep.
Yeah.
People were commenting in videos like, you look like, because I had bags under my eyes where I had slept in 3 days.
Well, we had, I don't know how personal you want to get, but we had conversations. I was driving home from somewhere, and you told me something along those lines. I was like, dude, like you got to take a break. You got to like go see the girl, do something that's not work related.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew you were
just,
right.
and just stop.
I knew you were right, but I couldn't stop.
Right.
And you know how it is.
It's
I know
like
you
it's
do.
Because you
it's a
just know that
blessing and a
next
curse,
minute,
you know?
that next minute could be that big break, and you're so afraid if you step away at that moment that you can lose what's going to happen next, and it'll never come back. And that's with like an entrepreneur, and what we all do is, we. It's such a fucking rush. It's such a fucking
Right?
drug to go. That next thing that I write on that blackboard, that next thing that comes out of my mouth could be that fucking thing that changes the game. And if I don't do it, and if I don't keep working, I may never have that again.
Well,
So I can't stop.
let's talk about some success because I
Yeah.
like success stories, and I'd consider your story, Brandon, a success story in
We'll
the
see.
making.
We'll see. Knock on wood.
Well,
In the
I think
making.
not
Knock
even
on
the
this nice
making.
wood. I just
think
spilled
you've been
spilled a bunch of crack on.
extremely successful.
No, you have. Yeah, Brandon has been extremely successful.
Absolutely.
I think he's been breaking a lot
Because
of.
he's doing the trifecta.
He's been breaking a lot of
hit all
barriers
three
in our
categories
community.
all at once, kicking.
What are the three? What do you consider the three categories? I'm curious.
Yeah,
so
what are the three
conception.
categories?
Oh
marketing-
Jesus! I hope I haven't perfected that one yet.
Well, not perfection is a word that we all
you
know.
said conception.
Conception.
Yeah.
Yeah, conception.
I
like
hope
the
I haven't
idea.
perfected that.
What do you mean?
Conception.
Think about it.
I-
Think about it for a second.
I don't want to be a dad.
Not
Yeah,
in
yeah.
that sense. Not I'm using the word in a different sense. like-
Conception
Okay.
of what?
conception of an idea.
Conception of an idea.
You came up with the fit. What? Yeah. Hold on. Back at the up.
Back in it.
Back at the. What I'm using that word for is you birthed. You birthed. That's a proper
Worse.
word.
How about created? Let's
You
just go with created.
Fine. What's the difference
Yeah.
of create?
So conception, perception was the second one, right?
Correct. No, not perception. No,
perception?
not
Is it what you
perception.
said?
No, absolutely not.
I'm so
Perception is
lost.
what we give.
Okay.
And I'm using these words very loosely. Advertising. Okay? Because
Mm-hmm.
you advertised yourself and you You nailed that.
Like
That is
self
your-
promotion. How
right,
about that?
self promotion. And the last one is what we would call entertainment. You're able to keep people entertained throughout the journey.
And self promotion within that
Right,
entertaining
and
content.
exactly, because self promotion is the 80-20 rule. So if you take a person and you look at the 80-20 rule, because the information is the 20%, the 80% is the entertainment, and then before that all started, he is a designer. He came up with an
A
idea.
designer and a business owner.
Right.
So
So
everything
you
you do
design
is
the
still,
idea.
So I'm miserable.
So that's why the trifecta, you hit the trifecta on the head. And it's a beautiful thing to watch because it's what we try and do on a daily basis. And it's not fucking easy. And for us, which is, we're going to switch gears a little bit. You personally are focused on, you. You have your ideas, you have your business. Whereas like Ben and I, we take on different companies. So we have to do.
Which honestly is harder for you guys.
We have to
frankly.
take a
it's
different
extremely
product
difficult.
like
Yeah, 'cause-
Dylan or Sig or whatever they may be, and we have to put ourselves in their shoes, and we have to go, okay, this project for this amount of time is ours because we represent them because, of course they have to prove everything. But once again, now we're going back into the marketing aspect. So we're going to go back to the core of this channel, the core of where we all, kind of all come from, because marketing, without that, nobody would know you exist.
Yep.
Nobody would know you didn't have a YouTube channel if you didn't market yourself.
And honestly, like I said, you guys have a harder job because you have to chameleon yourself with the companies that you
That's a
work
good word,
with.
chameleon. I like
I
that.
like
Or,
that.
like
I like that.
I just have to be me.
Well, and that's
Honestly, I just have to do my. I have to push my. I have to sell my. Please buy my. I have to do stuff like that all the time. It's really easy, but you guys have to switch gears like on a dime. You have to say, okay, what is this company's brand? What do they represent? How do I sell that effectively? And how do I organically put that into the content that I'm making and change that every day?
Every single time.
it's like a 2-sided or even 3-sided coin, even though that's not a thing, because it's difficult, but I think that's what we enjoy about it so much because we're not stuck in one brand or another. And then
Unless they pay well enough.
correct.
Yeah.
And then we also get to experience so much variety
But I think it's
that strengthens us as a firm and our knowledge base and our ability to help clientele start, like, for example, starting in the firearms industry from a marketing standpoint. If you know anything about this space, it's extremely difficult to market your products to any extensive in any extensive way, and being thrown into that space and having to figure it out has forced us to be more creative than a lot of maybe more traditional marketing firms that can rely on throwing money at Facebook and seeing profit.
That right there is what I've been telling people for a very long time. It's like if you can handle marketing in the gun community, holy, you have just completed marketing on expert mode.
God, I love it, and that's what we tell. Like, so we're in the car world now. We did the political space, and I look at these companies. I'm like, you know how easy this is.
We have
It is easier to
like-
market porn than it is to market guns.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. But yeah, I just want to touch on something quick. What you just said, you think we have it harder than you do, and I think you're wrong.
I'm interested to
I
hear
kind
why.
of agree. I
Because-
think I know where you're
Really?
going. I kind of
Because
agree with that.
and I'm going to say
I'm
this.
genuine, I have no idea what you guys are about to
Okay,
say.
because
so
I'm
that's-
going to say this
interested.
from a personal. So I owned a gym for 10 years. And, with that gym, I wasn't fortunate enough that I was making millions that I could just hire a marketing firm. That's where this whole love of marketing came from because I had to do it myself. So there's
I
something
think you're out there, buddy.
there's
I think so.
something
I
very
should've
intriguing
one.
about having your own brand and marketing your own brand. And this took me a long time to understand that. It becomes who you are. I took everything very personally. So my gym, we're going to get tight here for a second. So my gym was named Sky Fitness. And the name Sky Fitness came from my brother, who unfortunately passed away when I was 10 years old. He was 5 years old at the time. So I always knew I wanted to do something special for his honor. And so when I decided to take a company and name it after my brother, it was real. I had to make sure that no matter what, that company would never, ever fail. So any material, any branding, marketing, whatever it may be, I had to stand behind it 100%. Now that was like, a tip of the iceberg, but then it comes into people, the population. Now you have feedback. Oh, the gym was dirty today, or, the equipment broke, or the cable was this. Just like R&D, when you start bringing things out there, people are going to say, oh, this, that, it didn't, whatever the case may be. Your brand, it's your baby. It's such a personal connection to that brand that it's so much harder because every word, it's you criticize
Personal
every
or criticism.
You
Right.
say
Oh my God.
everything that's going to come out of your mouth. It's like, oh my God, did I do this right? Did I do this? It's a reflection of yourself where, we get the opportunity to work with very large companies. And our number one thought is we just want to make sure we don't do anything to damage their brand. I'm not in control of the product that they make. We're going to make sure that we show their product in the best light. We give them the respect that they deserve.
At the very least, just do no harm.
Right, exactly. Do no harm. But
It
when
sounds
something
simple.
fails-
It's harder than most people think.
Agreed.
Oh my God.
So that personal aspect, what you're doing, you're doing something that no one, unless you do it yourself, you can never understand. So a comment that's made, people don't realize, and listen, I'm not saying I don't get butthurt. I don't get butthurt. But when you say something about something that you didn't sleep for days on end, and you thought about this one little detail, and that detail doesn't go wrong, and someone just, it's like that girlfriend you always loved your whole life. She just looks at you, and she sticks a fucking knife in the side of you and just twists it one more time. It's a personal jab, and it hurts. So I commend you, sir, because what you're doing is a very hard thing. And not only are you doing it in that aspect, but you're doing it on social media, because social media right now is the most direct form of marketing. And with that comes direct responses and direct conversations from the audience. So what you post instantaneously is going to get an instantaneous response. And
Good,
you have
bad, or
to
indifferent.
exactly. You have to deal with that. And if you don't, you are not putting 110% into your brand, and you're not going to be able to sleep at night unless you give it 110%. Where Ben and I, we can go, hey, listen, we want to make sure we don't do any harm. We give them all the respect, but we did our part. We are a part of that company. You are not a part. You are the entire thing.
So, I think that applies to both of us, though, because at a certain point, what I do is, in that sense, B2C, whereas you guys are B2B. You don't have to deal with that from everybody, but you have to deal with that from the people who matter, which is the people who write the checks. So if somebody didn't think you did, so like for me, like if I'm sitting up in bed at 2:00 in the morning and I'm reading through Instagram comments or YouTube comments or something like that, and I see something that just boils my blood, which happens often. I have high blood pressure. I should stop reading them. But
He has high blood pressure.
I've ridiculously high blood pressure.
I got you beat.
You
brother.
too. Yeah, you too.
Oh,
would go
I-
hand in hand.
we'll compare numbers after, because my doctor says I should be dead in like 2 years. Like,
You
it's-
saw what the Gundies put on me.
oh, I believe that actually. I was stressed
Oh
for
my
you
God, so
guys.
true.
But whereas I'm looking at that directly from everybody, and
Right.
to a degree, like it's worse on me because there's a load of people saying it, but it's worse on you guys because the people who are saying it matter. So like if there's
That's true.
somebody who's not 100% happy with something you did or something, because like shit happens. Like that's somebody who matters from a company that's like, hey, I really wish you guys did this, and you just sit up in bed at night like, why didn't I do that?
It's customer service on a different
You
level.
see what I mean? It's just
Yeah.
B2B versus B2C.
Well, and the problem with the B2B, it's so interesting that you bring it up, because the B2B, I feel it affects more the food on the table. Meaning the fact, I'm just going to give examples, and please don't
like
take
stupid
this.
comment versus
No. What I was about to say is, and the names I'm about to say have no. I'll just say A and B. So if company A says
That's safe.
smart.
yeah. It's company A, and there's not an example. I'm just making an example. If company A says, you guys destroyed our new product launch, okay, the companies that we typically work with, they're big companies. Now, what's going to happen is company B that was starting a new campaign with us, they're going to go, whoa. What did you do with company B, A?
Right.
And now company B might pull back. And then once company B pulls back, company C may pull back. So it's a very, when you get to the top, okay, we're not at the top. Let me take that. I'm sorry.
When you start playing in the
working
big
your-
leagues.
Right. When you
Right.
start,
That's a
exactly.
good way
When
to
you're
put it.
playing, we're all playing in the big leagues. See, when you're playing there, there's big fucking, you can real
Well,
quick.
and no matter what, like our name's on it. Like we want to live up to a standard that makes us proud.
Right.
And if we don't reach that, and I will admit, like there's been situations where we haven't gotten, a piece of content or whatever the campaign wasn't up to snuff, at least to our, to our level. That eats away at you.
Oh my God, absolutely. Absolutely, so much.
And then when
me and you fight about it constantly.
and then compound that with an unhappy client,
Ugh.
and that can really, we've had some situations where I think we talked about this in episode 1 where Forge almost didn't exist past the first couple of years.
Yeah.
Because as you're going through that learning curve, there's a lot of faking it till you make it sort of
Right.
things going on.
There's a lot of mistakes that we have made, and
It's a lot of trust us. We'll make this right. Like,
Yeah.
no, we're gonna take care of you. Like,
Right.
you're trying to convince people like we're not hucksters. Like, we actually are in this
Right.
to win this.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
100%.
And that's our big thing is like we make it work.
Yeah.
There have been very few, if any, I can't think of them off the top of my head, where we've been in a situation and we're like, we don't have an answer. Like I don't think that's ever really happened.
No.
Like we,
No.
especially Will, and I've learned this
No.
through Will,
Yeah.
is like you make it f***ing work.
There's
There's
two
not,
things I live by. When someone asks you to do something, I don't give a f- what it is. And I'll be very open right now. Okay? And I've never shared this with anybody. There was a situation where a certain person said, "Hey, can you get this gigantic thing that's a big vehicle?" And I was like, absolutely, I know I can get that. I had no idea what to even do at that point.
Is this
It
too soon
doesn't-
to admit?
Yeah, that's not. Yeah,
oh God.
yeah. So it's just it was something I'd never heard before. Someone asked me to get something. So one of my great skill sets is a connector. I consider myself a professional
Will is a
connector. I think it is whatever anyone wants. I know I can make happen, no matter what it is. And but the reason why I feel that way so strongly about that is because I know everyone is connected at some point. I know someone that knows someone that knows someone. It just takes the time and dedication to go through that list and figure out how to connect them together. If you're willing to go down that channel and you're willing to go down that line. So my brain never understands the word no or it's not possible. Let me rephrase that. I don't know what it means to not make something happen. If you ask me, hey, I want to be with Eli Musk and I want to get on that
Eli Musk. Who's Eli
whatever
Musk?
his name is. What's his name?
Elon.
Whatever
Yeah.
his name is. I want to get on the first spaceship to the moon. Whatever.
Oh, I'd volunteer tomorrow.
Yeah, the
Elon,
point is-
if you are listening
Elon.
by 1 in a million, I will be on that rocket.
Damn you-
Whatever you need me to sign,
Damn you,
I'm
Johnny
there.
Walker.
More like 1 in a billion.
But the point is, I don't.
So you're
know
saying
how
there's a
to-
chance.
There is a chance.
There's always a chance.
There's always a chance. But the point is, you don't want to say no. I mean, you agree
Never
with that?
say no.
Just never
No,
say no.
100%. No, so many people just kill themselves before they start.
Right, 100%.
Because it's just through spheres of influence, through
Right.
whatever the doesn't matter.
If you have a negative outlook, you're going to get a negative result.
yeah.
If you have a positive outlook, you're going to get a positive result.
Well, I don't think you're like if you have a positive outlook, you're going to get a positive result, but you're
Gotta
way
put- gotta
fucking
put-
more likely than the guy who just defeated himself before he started
Right.
asking people.
Right.
Oh, agreed,
You got to
agreed.
start.
Agreed.
Most people
Yeah,
don't
certain
start.
people
And
just
Ben,
don't
what's
have
our-
skills, and hey, that's
You want
But-
to get real for a second in front of everybody?
Sure, let's get real for a
What's
second, but let's
our-
make sure that we're still recording video.
We are.
oh, that would be great.
We are.
So, guys, we took a short, brief intermission.
Yeah, we are about to get
We had to get
real,
some refills
real
in.
again.
What do you mean? We're seamless.
Seamless. Thank you, Mr. Editor, for making us look seamless.
Yes, we do appreciate that. So, Ben,
Real talk.
what is it that I tell you all the time when we come up with ridiculous plans and we want to
So-
do things that are outside the box? Every time I suggest something, we have a little bit of an issue. I'm like, Ben, hey, we should reach out to
I thought
this guy.
I thought this was my story to tell.
It is. Okay. So please. Do
Sure.
it.
So
I love it when you two fight.
It's so cute. We're like a old married couple.
I've been saying that for years.
Well, me and Will have a very interesting dynamic. We're polar opposites. Will is the go-getter. Will call up anyone, make things happen, and then there's me. Are you sure that's a good idea? Do you really want to do that?
I thought literally just now when you said that, Will was taking a drink, and you're like, "Are you sure that's a good idea?" I'm like, "It's happening in front of me."
That was great.
But that's the truth, and it works to a certain extent. But there's also a lot of things that I've learned while as being business partners, to where it's kind of gotten to the point where it's just like, that sounds crazy, but okay. Let's do it. I've kind of given up on the whole. Well, not really. That's a bad way to put it. Not given up on. I've learned to just say yes, like we were talking about.
Perfect.
To just say yes.
Yep.
To do it.
And out of all those crazy ideas,
And every single time you've had a crazy idea, it's worked out, and I don't know why. But
well, I know why. Because
you said yes.
Well, not only that, because once we came up with an idea and we realized the potential of the idea, it just takes me. So the difference between me and you is I can see the success of an idea instantaneously. It takes you a little bit longer to understand the inner workings of how the idea could come and be real.
Right. You in your brain, you're already 3 miles down the road. You've done it 10 times over.
Right.
Where before it even begins in my brain, I look at it from like 10 different sides. I overanalyze it, and then I still question it.
It's like the Gundys. It's like, everyone's like, oh, you didn't do a speech. But, I did in my brain. I gave a speech. And in that speech or in those words, what I do is I take a situation and I say a sentence. And then after I say that sentence, I look at the audience. So I put myself in a different position outside of my body. And I go, how is the audience going to react from point A? How are they going to react to point C, point D? And I go down the line. So I'm able to, kind of control that and go, okay, if this happens, I'm going to do this. If this happens, I'm going to do this. And with that,
you're doing that while you're talking.
No, it's like that's my prep. That's my preparation for a situation. It's like storyboarding.
He doesn't sleep, dude.
It's like storyboarding. So some people meditate. Okay,
I do
cardio.
Really?
Yes. So my meditation
I got tricked into doing cardio once.
Is cardio. My greatest idea is, Ben, how many times have I called you on the
He'll be at the gym.
stepper?
He'll be at the gym. He'll call me.
I do
an idea.
Yeah, I do cardio an hour every day, either on stair stepper or I run 3 mile, 5, whatever it may be.
Jesus Christ.
That's crazy. And that is my time that my brain shuts down and I just think of ideas. Like we were doing something with Alex and we did a Black Rifle Coffee video. And I'll never forget this. I'm on the stair stepper. Alex calls me the night before. She's like, "Hey, I want to do a video for Black Rifle Coffee." I'm like, "What are we gonna do for what we're gonna do for coffee?" And then all of a sudden, start sweating. I'm 20 minutes into this workout. And I'm like, "Ooh, I'm feeling good." Oh my God, coffee, brass falling through the air. It flies up in the air. It
and in his head, this
coffee.
all makes sense.
Yeah, it's true. And he'll call me. He'll try to explain it.
Oh my God, my explanations are
I'm just
crazy.
like, what are you saying?
And then I get back to the office. I'm like, I'm frantically writing, my handwriting, my spelling's so bad. I'm like, this is what we gotta do. This is what we're gonna do. And all of a sudden, at the end of the day, and then I explained it to Alex, and she goes, that's kind of cool.
It's so funny you say that because, I'm the kind of guy I can sit in silence for 30 minutes, sitting still, just period.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen it, guys. It's true.
I freak people out because I drive without music. I literally just sit there and think. But if you get me on a business call on the phone, I pace. I walk around. I do
That's also
gymnastics. True. Jesus
but
Christ.
He does the same. He can't sit still.
I can't. I really can't. I get up. I will. I just started running. I will just go.
So here's one I wish we would have done. This is for another day. So we're going to have an episode. It's going to be kind of an offshoot of our podcast. It's going to be product of the day.
Oh, were you? I didn't know we were releasing that yet.
Yeah, of course.
Well, apparently you are.
Secret.
Okay.
So and I would love for you to be part of this. So it's for creators. It's for developers.
We should
it's for
do
engineers.
It built around the AK guy.
So yeah. So what it is, it's a podcast just like this. Except
how much do you want?
Except the difference is we're going to have microphones. We're gonna have lapels.
You have it already.
We're all gonna have lapels on.
This is so gay.
So
good. It's all good.
So we're gonna have lapels on. So what's going to
Will's here.
happen is there's going to be a product or a piece of paper in the middle of this table. And on that piece of paper or that product, there's going to be a sheet over it. So we're all going to get mic'd up. We're going to be ready. We're going to reveal the sheet. And whatever the product it is, let's say it's a remote control.
Ideally, it's a product we're getting paid to promote.
So it's a remote control.
That's the
Now,
idea.
All of us are going to be on. We're going to be on a podcast, and we are going to market this product.
Sell me this remote.
No, not sell it. We're going to go behind the scenes of what it takes to get
To come up with the
Yeah.
concept.
So we're going to blackboard it.
It'd be
We're gonna
terrible
walk
if we didn't
around,
come up with anything.
And that's going to be the concept behind that offshoot of the podcast.
So
If you can't come up with anything, you probably shouldn't have accepted it to be on
Right,
the
it's
little
totally-
No, you're
pedestal
right.
here.
You're right. So
Totally
I want to come around full circle because through all these times where Will's had these crazy ideas, and I've gone into my brain and I've tried to look at it 10 ways to Sunday. What I always try to do is figure out why someone else hasn't done it or why it's a bad idea. And if I can't come up with an answer to both of those, I'm usually doing something, or usually we're onto something. And it's gotten to the point where I've learned to trust the awesome.
Oh my gosh!
Trust
Can
the
I just?
awesome.
Can I just? I'm sorry. I have. This is the most. I'm sorry. I'm on my phone right now.
You are on your
Oh,
phone.
I
And
know.
I
Are we
feel-
that boring? Are we
no,
boring you?
Yeah,
no, no,
that
no, no.
was
Honestly,
terrible.
this is real right now.
He
Can
was
everyone
onto
just pick up their
something. Okay.
phone and go to what just happened? What Pelosi just did to the president's speech? No, I'm really
Oh,
being
boy.
serious. I would never do
Okay.
this if this wasn't real. I want everyone to find the video that was just posted on national television on Fox News. What Pelosi just did behind our president.
Did she rip it?
She just ripped. And I don't know the story. I don't know what she just ripped.
Rips one behind the president. Jesus Christ.
The face that she's make, dude. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, well, yeah.
the
It says she snubbed the handshake, or he snubbed her.
Is it something about Rush Limbaugh?
Okay.
Cannot,
No.
dude.
What am I
rips
reading?
the president's speech? Okay, so it was his speech that he was.
Is a State of the Union? I
Holy,
believe.
that is so disrespectful.
I can't find it. I must be in
Here,
like
here you go.
There's like 80
Dude.
articles here I'm reading.
Holy, I'm sorry, guys.
So
You know,
why did she rip it?
I don't know.
What did
I don't
she
know
rip?
The whole, I don't
What are
know.
we ripping?
I don't mean to get off topic. I'm sorry. That just really hurt me. I'm looking at something that says American made and just
We're entrepreneurs.
She's
We're
like-
all
she's
ADD
like
as
crying.
hell.
listen,
We have
guys.
to be.
You don't have to like the president. You don't have to agree with the president, but for sakes, you have to respect him. We respect our parents. We respect our elders. We respect our teachers. How can you be so disrespectful?
Well, people earn my
that's
respect,
so
but
Well,
I like the
I'm
president.
sorry. I'm sorry.
I'd also
I like the
also
president
to-
because he
I'm
makes
sorry.
the people I don't like very sad.
I'd also like to get the full story. You
I'm
know,
sorry.
Let's not
I know,
Be,
I
let's
know, I'm
not
sorry.
Be
That
that,
just
let's
hurt.
not be those guys.
I know. I'm not. That was like very interesting to see. But anyhow, back to what you're saying.
Embrace the awesome. I believe
Embrace-
is what you heard. What you
So-
said.
The thing about Will is I've learned to embrace the awesome, if I dare say so. And what I mean by that is to when he says we're doing something or he has an idea,
You know that you don't have a choice.
I just say okay.
Cheers.
That could be. Oof.
Show me the precious.
Ugh.
Oh, God, I'm sorry I did it.
There it is.
No.
Anyways,
What'd you say?
No, so, but from an idea standpoint, Will's ideas are sometimes so off the wall. For example, we're gonna use an example. There's this thing called Posty Co. It's a festival that Post Malone puts on, and as Will mentioned earlier with his big ball sack drop on the table, he is friends with Austin, and it's a relationship that opened up a lot of doors. And
I didn't know that was his name before today. Literally, you guys just dropped it casually. Oh, yeah, well, Austin's blah, blah, blah. I'm like, who the is Austin?
Anyway, so we were given an opportunity to work on Posty Fest to work alongside with their massive team and play a small role. And there were some things that were being asked for that I didn't think. I was just like, yeah, that's not happening. And then Will's like, yes, that's happening. We're gonna do that. We're gonna make it bigger. It's gonna be better. It's gonna be this, that, the other. But we only have 6 hours to do it. Well, it doesn't matter. We'll make it happen.
Wait a minute. Wait. You're skipping over a couple things. Hold on. Hold on.
I mean, I agree with the premise.
If we're gonna go, no, but
I
so-
mean, we don't need the whole story. The premise is that you made it
You're talking about
happen.
the day of the show,
sell,
though. That's
like-
the day. That was the day of the motherfucking show, Ben.
Correct. That's my point.
Well, you got it. Okay.
That's
All
my
right.
point. Is like
No one else. Yeah. Okay.
you are so how do I put this? You are so confident that
You
make
are so full of yourself.
No, you were
that
so.
you think you
No.
can do
Listen,
it, but
listen,
then you
listen.
actually do
No,
it.
because
Exactly.
I would have Forrest Gumped it. I would
Yeah.
have started.
He is-
I would have ran.
No, it's weird. It's such a weird
100
dynamic.
million miles to make sure it happened.
He is so confident that he's going to make it happen that he predicts that he makes his own future and makes it happen.
Because
I-
failure is unacceptable.
Because failure is on, and I because I've learned that as let me
I
get
don't
these words out
accept
of my
failure
mouth.
because I've failed. I've been on the verge of bankrupt. Been on the verge of bankruptcy. I've pretty much been bankrupt.
Join the club, pal.
I've lost everything. I had a very successful gym. I've been divorced. I have lost everything I had. And I told myself I will never do it again. To the day I die, I will never. My grandpa, my pop, who I love very much, and he's beat cancer 5 times. He's still alive. He's kicking it. He has been that gentleman his whole life that he told me stories I shoulda, woulda, coulda. I will never be a shoulda, woulda, coulda. If there's an opportunity in front of me and there's a real opportunity, I will never hesitate, and I will never spend the next 20 years of my life telling a story that I had an opportunity and I passed on it. I'm going to give that opportunity 110%, and no matter what, I'd rather have the opportunity to say it didn't work than say I didn't try.
God,
So
I'm inspired
that
right now.
Is the entire,
I want to get up and do some.
I
now.
mean, right,
Jesus Christ.
but that's the real people are
No, it is.
scared of trying. They're so afraid of failure. Failure is beautiful. Failure means you did something because you attempted it. And you know what that means for the next time you try? You go out and you do it again and you learn from that previous mistake and you go out and you succeed. And then when you go out and you fail the following time, you learn a little bit more than you did the last. It is okay to fail because if you want to get to the top, you got to fall hard. And that's how it is. That's it.
We need to
And
put
you know,
some
and-
music on top of that beat.
Right,
'cause
right,
That was
It's
intense.
inspirational.
But it's
I mean,
but
it's
it's
fucking
true.
real, man.
Honestly,
but that's
where
coming from the
where
heart.
most people start, where most people stop, where they say, "Oh, I can't do that," literally translates in their mind. Like their subconscious says, "I can't do that." What it actually means is that would be uncomfortable for me to pull off. That would make me uncomfortable to do.
That
but
is-
I could.
That is very true because that is exactly how I thought 4 years ago. Like I did not want to leave my house. I did not want to talk to people. I was still terrified to talk. I hate talking to people.
You're getting so much better, man.
But if you want,
You're
like,
a different person than I knew.
Oh, right. Isn't he?
Like 3,
Oh
4
my
years ago,
God.
you were a different
I'd like to
person.
thank you. That means a lot because I'd like to hope.
He really is.
Because if you're the same person
What
you
the
were
hell am
4
I doing
years
on
ago,
a podcast? How am I talking on a pod? Like, let's be
love
honest.
it. I
here.
love it.
right?
I love it.
if you're the same person that you were 4 years ago, you're a man.
Oh Lord Jesus.
Yeah. That's
So
true.
I guess
Seriously, like I hate looking at myself 5 years ago. Like if I see myself
wow.
on
That
video,
is, wait. Can we just wait? That's a really interesting. That's the most simplistic way of saying something so real.
yeah. Say
So
that again.
I
Say that again.
actually that was a discovery that I made when I was making fun of people, believe it or not. And people that like they'll see themselves 5 years later, and they'll go like that was me 5 years ago. Hell yeah, like I had my figured out. It's like no, you're an idiot.
right.
Like if you don't hate yourself 5 years ago,
It's like
you're
the
not
high-
growing.
It's like
you're
the
not
high school
learning.
That's
guy
so
that's
true.
30 years old that's still wearing his varsity jacket.
Yeah, it's like well, it's
Like
if you're
I don't, and I say that with respect, but you know what I mean. Like I don't know how else to try to translate it.
I forgot
5
about
years
I
is
forgot
a
about high
lot.
school the day I walked out of those doors.
right.
Yeah, but I think what we're trying to say is like
I know
Five-
that was
five
a little
years
off
ago.
topic,
Right,
but
right.
5 years is a lot of time.
Yeah.
5 years. I mean, if you haven't learned so much in 5 years that you hated the person you were 5 years ago,
Mhm.
you're not learning enough. You're not growing.
I'm just
enough.
trying. I'm trying to think.
And
back
it's kind of
5
like
years.
a
That's
question I
terrifying.
hate.
Oof.
You ever ask that question?
Yeah, think about
Where
who
do
you were
see
5 years
yourself?
ago.
That's terrifying.
Well, how about this? How about if I asked you, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
I
do you-
have learned enough from my
yeah.
experience.
I'm curious to hear your answer. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
From my experience, I've learned enough to know, and you know this for sure. You probably know this. I don't know where the you're gonna be in a
Not
month.
Not a
Perfect.
Because
But that's the real. But that's the real.
I have
That's
no
the
idea.
real, because every day a new opportunity is put in for you. So it's your decision, it's your destiny to make the decision. You can't sit there and say you want to be a millionaire or a billionaire, or you want to have the best of this or whatever. It doesn't matter. But you don't.
I'll go a step
No.
further. I'll go a step further. Most people trap themselves by having an idea of where they want to be in 5 years. They say, I want to be this person in 5 years. And they will trap themselves in that idea.
Oh, I love that.
And they'll be like, well, no, I have to do this because I told so-and-so I was going to do this
They
in 5
envision
years.
their own destiny because that's what they put forth on their 5-year plan. So
And
they want to
they
follow
make-
that plan, and they don't look at the opportunities that could have happened because they're so fixated on that 5-year plan. God, that.
People will literally trap themselves in prison to impress other people.
It's like the white picket fence with the dogs and the
Gotta be married by
kids.
25 with
2.5
3
kids.
two and a half.
Yeah, two and a half. You have 2.5
God.
kids.
What is wrong with this world? God, that's such
Now,
a
I mean,
great-
let's back up a second.
Nothing wrong
I
with
mean,
that.
that sounds
Right,
nice
if that's what you
to a
want to
degree.
do, there's nothing. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. That is fantastic. But
But to feel like you have to do it, or
Agreed.
like every
Right. Let's-
the wonder of capitalism, the wonder of America, all that is that everybody can take their own path.
Yeah.
And you know, you all contribute to the same thing in a million different ways, and everybody, you know, just you're not locked into that one idea of an American dream that you have to do this exact thing and that's success.
right, exactly. And I want to roll back the clock real quick and talk about something Will mentioned about. I'm not quite sure what you said exactly, but something about $1 million or $1 billion.
I'm saying. So if I asked you, Ben, where do you want in 5 years?
Well,
This is what I was
kind of
referring to.
an offshoot of that is I know, and this isn't meant to sound conceited, but I know that I will have $1 million sitting in the bank account one day because I'm gonna hustle my ass off until it happens. It might not happen in 5 years. It might happen next year. It probably won't. But
But are you gonna feel defeated if it doesn't happen in that 5 years?
well, no, that's what I'm
Are
saying.
you gonna
I'm not
stop- are you
I'm
gonna
not
stop
putting a
trying?
timeline on that.
There you go. There. I think that's what we were trying to touch. Are you gonna stop? Are you gonna give up on your goal if it doesn't happen?
because-
in a
because-
certain time frame.
It's like when you set a goal, you set something that's maybe just out of reach, and then when you hit that goal, you're always going to keep going up that ladder. Like, so if you get $1 million, now you got to get $10 million. If you get $10 million, you're gonna want 50, and you're never gonna be happy.
That right there is exactly why you will never care if you make it to $1 million.
Exactly,
in the
you're
bank.
never gonna be happy. So
But that's what
it's
separates
so much about
the
the
three of
journey.
us.
It's
But
the
that's what
journey.
separates the three of us and puts us. And no disrespect to anyone, we have a different. The three
It's just
of
a
us sitting
different.
on
It's
this
just a
table
different mindset.
is a different mindset. We just have a different value.
There's
but
nothing
it's
wrong.
not.
There's
And here's
nothing
the
wrong
thing.
with any of those.
Here's why I really don't think it's a different mindset, because we do have a different mindset than the average person. Whereas we don't do a 9 to 5, right? We kind of do our own thing.
It is currently 11 o'clock.
This is
PM.
this is the way I'm wired, and I'm having a blast.
And at the end of this is still work. Anyway, you guys look
Yeah.
at this. This is still
We're writing it
work.
off, that's for sure.
right.
But
It's still work.
right
Yeah, maybe
off.
fun, but it's work.
yeah, right off. But my point is, it doesn't really matter if you ever make it to that $1 million, and I'm sure you do. You hope you do, and I hope you do. I hope you make it to the 50 million mark.
Right.
But especially men, like our drive in life, the thing that makes us just hit that dopamine receptor, yes, we're doing good in life, is that we're moving toward a goal. Hitting that goal is a brief high. Because you just, oh, I hit the goal. Great. I'll have a night out. I'll celebrate with my
It's so
friends.
fucking true.
Whatever. But then you move on to the next goal. And if you don't have a goal, God, you're
That is so.
That's-
Oh my!
God,
Because
that's
think
so-
about it.
that
Think
really-
about it for a second. The
well
gun.
said.
The
Well
gun.
said,
The
sir.
Gundies.
Yeah.
For 3 months, we slaved over the Gundies,
Mm.
and then we did it.
And God bless you. I appreciate it. It's really made my value go up.
By the way, guys, Brandon won a Gundy. That's
He
why
did.
he's so.
You told me I didn't. You
We didn't
like,
know.
sorry, man. Like you got second place,
We didn't-
something like that.
we don't
didn't
tell-
know.
dude, we don't-
Like, so
I
the-
couldn't give it up. I couldn't.
Dude,
I
the
couldn't give
result-
it
I
up.
know. I know why you did it, but I thought it was funny as
He-
shit.
so
we
he didn't know the
we didn't know.
winners.
I didn't know.
I knew the winners.
I had no idea.
I talked to you on the phone, and you
I
had
had
mentioned
no-
something.
I
and
had no
I
idea.
had to fake you
No
out.
idea.
If you caught, yeah, because if you caught on, it'd ruin it.
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
Anyways,
I'm glad you did, but it was funny because I was was blasted.
To your point, we did the Gundies, whatever. It was an awesome success. We had that high of doing it, but then by the time we came back from Vegas, we were still on that high of success. But it was time to move on to the next thing. You know, like they got either got to start planning for next year, or we're going to work on our next project.
You can't harp on that,
right?
I mean, it's just
You know, and it kind of plays off that the varsity kid from.
Well,
no,
what it plays off on is what's now. Okay, we did this.
Now what's next?
Let's do this, and then when we do this, let's do this. Let's do this.
It prevents you from resting on your laurels, is what it does.
Right. It's
you're
like the same thing with you. Like, you know, you created this, but after you create it, you're like, well, okay, what can we create next? How can I make it better?
I never thought I'd get to a.
How can I make it smoother? I mean, those are the things that need to happen.
Yeah, my goal was getting to the silver play button. That was my thing, like 100,000 subs,
and you did it.
And within a year of that, I'm like, okay, maybe I'll get to 1 million. Like it's all these different checkpoints along the way. You're just like, when I get to that, I'll be happy. And I thankfully
so when you reach a goal, you don't stop.
No, God, no, you can't, because in my heart, and thankfully I figured this out a long time ago, is I really did kind of bring myself to peace with this, is I will never be happy with a goal.
Okay, so let me ask you.
Are there people out there that once they, I'm asking this kind of legitimately, are there people out there that when they reach a goal, they kind of just like stop and that's like,
if you feel that that's you, I really feel sorry for you. Because if you haven't figured that out by the time you're achieving real life goals, you're fucked. Because you will never be happy reaching a goal. I mean, if your goal is something like, I want my wife and kids to live a fulfilled life, or something like that, that's like, you'll never really get there, but like it's a good thing to move toward. That's one thing. But it's like 100,000 subs or something like that. It's like $1 million in the bank account.
Something that doesn't actually matter.
Like an arbitrary benchmark, really.
Right. That's not an end all. Like,
goals are great. Don't get me wrong. I'm a big believer in goals. I have a fucking whiteboard at home full of goals. Moving toward the goals is what makes you happy.
You tried to steal a whiteboard one time.
I did, absolutely. I'm a whiteboard fanatic. I have a problem.
So I have to-do lists.
Oh, God. Oh.
No,
my to-do list just depressed me.
No, that's what I'm saying. I have a to-do list. My to-do list.
You have a to-do list.
Well, I do have a lot of to-do lists, but my to-do list is to get to $1 million. But that's just one check off my to-do list.
Okay, so can I ask both of you a question? And I had this conversation last night at the gym with a dear friend of mine I've been training for many years. He's very successful. He owns a lot of rental properties. He has a great 9-to-5 job.
So he actually makes money.
Tons of money. Oh, my God. Tons of money. And I asked him, because we had a conversation with the lottery. And I asked him, I said, hey, if he has two kids. And I said, hey, if you won, and they're older. I said, if you won $100 million right now, would you quit? Now, okay, let's just say forget taxes. You had $100 million in the bank. You won whatever.
Sure.
You had $100 million in the bank. Would you quit? And for the first time of knowing him for 10 years of being very close with him, he finally, because we've had this conversation many times, he said, yes.
Really?
That shocks the shit out of me.
Wow.
Here's why. Okay, so
by the way.
Yeah.
This is why I'm bringing this up. Because he's 10 years older than me. So he's 45. Okay. So he's been at it for quite a while. Manual labor, worked his way up, dug the same thing we've done. Just kind of picked at it, worked it off. And he would say, yeah. Because at the end of the day, why are we all doing it?
I mean, I know why I'm doing it.
Why are you doing it? Why are you doing it for?
Well, I'm doing it because I want to build.
I'm not talking about enjoyment. Why are you really doing it?
I mean, I guess there's a couple reasons, but the one that comes to the forefront is that I want to build a better future, and this might be super corny, a better future for my future family.
Which is what? But which is what?
Which is making sure that they're taken care of.
Which is what?
Which is money.
Okay, thank you.
Oh no, money is the end all be all
Okay.
for sure. But at the same time, it's like
the point of this conversation is we're age bracket. Now, there's a reason for this question. It's
Like,
because of age.
I get
So what I'm
his
saying,
I get
what
his
I'm
answer.
doing, would you guys quit with $100 million?
no.
Not at this. No, not
There,
I think,
okay.
Not at this age.
Now, me at 30, so I'm in. So this is why I'm bringing this up. You guys are in the 20s, I'm in the 30s, and he's in the 40s. Now, knowing him for 10 years, so I saw him in his 30s, and he's an entrepreneur, worked as all that good stuff, and now in his late 40s, he finally said, "Yes, I would quit." Now, for me personally, I would say no. But I think I would do it much differently than both of you. Meaning,
I
would
think that might
give
have
up.
to do with testosterone, honestly. It's
Well,
like if you have testosterone,
there's shots in the that
Oh,
can fix that. But
TRT for sure, obviously.
Right,
but
right,
you
right.
know, that's one of the you see what I mean? It's like the people with a lot of
I
testosterone
think
early in their life.
But I
don't
think it's the
accept that.
thought process, because what I was about to say was I wouldn't quit. I would transition into. I know this sounds really weird. I would transition into the give back, the chair. So I
Okay.
I
No,
want
I accept
I want to like at this point in 35. I love, like, I have a lot of foundations I want to start, and the bucket list and all that other crap. So that's where I would focus on. And I think in my 20s, where I was
It's funny
with
you say that.
I wouldn't even think of that. I would think of building. I would go, oh my God, this is my opportunity. I'm going to be, Mark Cuban. Oh my God, I'm going to just influx it. I'm going to buy this and just grow and grow and grow. So I guess my question is, how do you guys feel about that in your 20s?
It's really funny you say that, because that's the one thing that I guess I talk about the two things separately, which is strange for, I guess, the where I'm at now is, there's my goals, and then there's kind of separately. It's like I talk about this all the time openly. I've almost died a lot of times. I honestly shouldn't be here. The fact that I'm here, that's why I have such a good time. It's like I'm on borrowed time. I should have died a long time ago. Probably do 10 other things in the next 3 months that almost kill me, or maybe do.
Please don't.
But it's like the that I talk about, like, and I get kind of like really glassy eyed talking about is what is my legacy when I die at this point, and the fact that I can talk about that 24 is amazing to me.
Speaking of legacy, because that's something I've been putting a lot of thought into recently, and then you have the whole Kobe Bryant situation, which is what kind of unrelated in my thought process at least, but in the same token, very intriguing. Not because of the incident or whatever, but
Kobe Bryant and all the other 8 people.
No, exactly.
Also passed
It's not the. I'm not talking about the specific situation, a helicopter flying into a mountain, whatever. The fact that one person, a sports star, was able to cause so much ruckus, that's the wrong word, but so much intrigue.
There was so much meaning behind it.
Right, that people are still
he touched so many
talking
people,
about it.
I guess, if you say, like, if you want to be gay like that. Yeah.
I don't know. It's intriguing, and then at the same time,
But was it more just an untimely surprise?
I think it was, and that's where I'm going with this. I think it was because it was an untimely death, and I've put thought into like my legacy, and I don't really know if I need a legacy.
Interesting.
As long as my family's happy, they're taken care of.
But that is a
Jesus.
Okay,
that right there?
okay. Maybe we need to define legacy. In my mind, I'm picturing like the world knows about you.
No,
You've changed the world to make it a better place. Like that's not really what
legacy is like leaving a farm, or a farm, or like the
3
best-
wooden crosses by Randy Travis, kind of.
Yeah.
Okay, well then, I mean, my legacy goal would be to leave my family better off than,
Yeah, if you're defining legacy like George Washington,
right? Like, that's what I keep picturing. Right,
know.
exactly, and that's not really what I want. I don't want to be famous, and I have no interest in being.
it's
You know,
not
that's
being,
an interesting distinction. It really is.
Yeah, because I don't.
Because that's not.
I want the people around me to remember me as someone good, I guess. But
that's
that's
a legacy just with because at the end of the day, okay. So here's the thing: who actually knew? I know this sounds really weird, but the amount of people that know the name George Washington, Okay, just hear me out for a second. Didn't know George Washington. There was only a select few people that actually knew George.
Like knew the person.
Right.
Right.
Knew the person. So
Not in a
all
biblical
he
sense,
did
but yeah.
was he created a story that he
And
did
most
something.
and most stories outgrow the actual person.
Right. So that's kind of where, like, legacy is kind of like.
And like once you're dead, like who cares? As long as the people you leave behind are better off than when you found them, quote unquote.
Right.
That's
So
all. That's
it's
all I
just
care
that his
about.
story was a little bit bigger than yours. That's really the only. That's because at the end of the day, we all.
Now we'll see. The clock's
sleepy,
still ticking.
Now then
That's a joke.
Then there's Brandon. Brandon's trying to take over the world. So I want to hear about your legacy, Brandon. When it's your time, what do you want to leave the world with?
Oh God, a hell of a question.
Give
You
me-
want to
give
see if
me-
I want to solve world peace
Give me
while
the
I'm
short.
at it?
Give me the short version.
Well, no, it's just kind of interesting the way you define it. It's kind of one of those
Well,
things.
what's your
where-
definition?
I don't know. Well, because it was weird for me because I kind of had a moment a few years ago where I realized, at 20 years old, I accomplished something that 99% of people don't do, which is at the end of the day, I'll always be the guy who made the AK-50. Several years ago, it was kind of one of those things. It's like I've got my spot in my Wikipedia article. Like I've got that footnote.
Not yet. You got to make it work, buddy.
Hey, I've done it. You've shot it, haven't you?
No.
Oh, let's go. I'll bring it down next time. The old
Done.
prototype, anyway. But
Done.
Oh my God, I want to shoot the out of it.
yeah. Well, no. Just wait for the new one.
Bad.
The new one's gonna be good. But
So bad.
it's still one of those things that, like, okay, that was a real thing. We have it documented. It's on video. It's like that was my footnote.
That's pretty awesome.
And it's like, but that's like almost an existential crisis at the same time. Because you think about it, it's like, okay, I've done that thing.
And that's just your start. So where do you go from here?
Oh yeah. No, for me, like I was with my personality type, like I was just onward and upward explosion kind of thing. But it was also a weird moment to reflect on. Like I've got my little footnote. That was my little blip in the Wikipedia article. Like I said, it's just so what happens now? And honestly, Brass Valley is a big part of that. Brass Valley.
Explain Brass Valley for those listening, because it's a genius concept.
So awesome.
It's something I talked to you about.
We
when,
talked
like, when
about
we
a
first
couple of years
met.
ago. Yeah,
It was about
You've
4 or
had
5.
You've had this idea forever. You finally put it into action, and I think after you launched the first video series, I told you this, and I'll say it again. I think industry leaders will follow, or you are
It's
an
already
industry leader,
starting.
and the bigger companies will follow.
That was the biggest legitimizing thing, is that it's already starting. And I'll kind of explain that later. But Brass Valley was kind of the idea that I had, that I'm like, hey, when I started this out with the 50, I was not an engineering student. I had no business doing what I was doing. I had the drive, I had passion for it, and I learned along the way. It's like I joke all the time. It's like, I'm not an engineer, but I play one on the internet. Right? Everything I know is self-taught. I had to relearn calculus, relearn all that. Like, just kind of learn what I was doing with firearm engineering, read a lot of it, talk to a lot of smarter people than me, and kind of like figure this out along the way. And there's a lot of people that I've realized that I've hired over the years that they know a lot. And like they've dedicated their lives, like this is their passion. Like they know how to do all this stuff. And they know more than half the people who have an engineering degree, that they have a master's. They spent 6 years in college learning.
Right.
I would rather have these guys than this dude who just has a generic, like, well, I have a piece of paper.
Self-taught. Yep.
Learn by doing.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, especially learning specifically in that field. Like somebody who studies more, like the John Moses Brownings and the Pedersons and the people like that, rather than just learning how to make a bridge that doesn't fall
very
down.
very specific stuff that deals with the industry.
Completely.
So
Yeah,
hence-
100%.
Hence Brass Valley.
Hence Brass Valley. And I'll tell you what, Brass Valley was an idea that, and I will go on record that son of a, like everybody I told that to, like probably 95% said it was a terrible idea.
Really?
Oh yeah. Saying like, as far as like from a liability perspective, from
No
you know,
way.
Are you serious?
oh yeah.
Because I was so jealous when you told me that idea. I was like, damn it.
So I remember, like, you were one of the first people I told about that, and because I remember, I've mused about it for years. It's one of those things like people like the liability, like having random people in you don't know about.
We talked about it before. Now that I'm thinking about it, before it was Brass Valley, like we were talking about just having a group of dudes in a house and see what happened.
I was in love with the name for one. Brass Valley was always kind of like
genius.
just Silicon Valley, Brass Valley, like that kind of thing. But just it kind of evolved over time. And after doing the first one, that was the first night, honestly, getting all those kids together and getting I think we had six interns right off the bat for Brass Valley that I had 700 applications, did Skype interviews, went through all of them. I read every single application, interviewed, I think the top 20 or 30 or something like that, chose 6. And my God, the team that I talked to, we were actually all so tight that we met up again about 2 months ago and did what we called Brass Valley 1.5. And I just had them all over at my house and we chilled out for a week and we were working on we were working on BVI 1.
So Brass Valley, give me the 2-sentence explanation on what it is. Like, you just put a bunch of kids in a hotel or in a house, or like what?
The most basic rundown I have is that the barrier to entry in the gun industry for gun design is the lowest it has ever been, with the advent of readily available CAD software, 3D printing, rapid prototyping, really lean manufacturing. The skills are available. The skills are out there. People can learn it, and people can learn by doing. And people have way too high of a barrier of entry in their heads that this is something that people can do at home. And I really think there is a revolution of firearm design just waiting. And not just in firearms, but specifically that's just the that I know about.
Right.
I think in design, period.
So you think it opens up the doors to many other things? It's not just
People have no idea.
How was the performance year one, or your first retreat?
Technically on record, it's a little too early to say, but I will say that I'll say it here. The idea that I brought to Brass Valley for the cameras, it was working on an AK-50 thing, which we had already solved.
Mm-hmm.
I had already had my answer. I was just curious to see how they would perform. And so what you saw in the Brass Valley videos is them solving a problem that I had solved 4 months earlier. And I was more or less watching their approach, watching how they talk to each other, watching how they solved the problem.
So it was a test.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Everything that was in the videos was a test.
Mm-hmm.
And it pisses them off to this day that I
But
had already solved
Did
that.
they know that?
No, they had no idea.
So at what point did you tell them it was a test?
I started dropping hints here and there,
Okay.
a couple days in. But they
Gotcha.
they were figuring it out. Honestly, in 48 hours, they had solved a problem that took me 2 weeks to solve.
Wow.
Because they were,
That speaks. Okay.
yeah. Because, I mean,
Because they're going back and forth. They had someone else to talk to.
they're sharing notes with each other. And for one, that they are 100% of their drive was going into solving this problem.
Huh.
And it was really cool to watch that. And I was just talking about going back to my own hotel room and tearing up or something. Just this was crazy
So
to watch.
you created a think tank of people who
Yes.
weren't held down by the traditional thought process of our industry. Put them all in a room together for
Not only that, but
a
I
week?
told them to bucket.
To bucket. Explain
Yeah.
that.
It wasn't don't get caught up in the thought process of the industry. I'm these old motherfuckers are wrong, and
Mhm.
here's why.
Yep.
And I have had a theory for a long time that they were wrong, and they were waiting for somebody to upset them. Time to be the motherfuckers that upset them.
I mean, it's the same.
This was it.
Same
Love
exact
it.
thought process
God, I love it.
with marketing.
Yeah, 100%. It's the same that we've been doing in the marketing realm, but it's for the R&D, it's for the prototyping, and a lot of times in R&D, sometimes you just have a bad idea,
Mm-hmm.
but it's gotten so damn cheap to prototype and so easy to make this in 2020 especially. It's crazy that more people aren't doing this, and that's
So-
what I wanted to highlight, because for every 6 kids that I had in for Brass Valley, 20,000 more see it. And people were coming up to, I had 2 Brass Valley candidates at SHOT Show, and people were coming up to them, recognizing them from Brass Valley.
That's cool.
at SHOT.
I was talking to one of them. I remember them talking about that. That's really cool.
That was the big winner for me.
So you said other companies are beginning to pick this up. If you want to drop names, you can, but I'm very curious. How has that looked?
Just because some of the candidates are still talking to them about potential employment.
Okay.
I don't really want to drop names.
Sure.
To not kind of them over.
Sure.
Potentially, but it was interesting the amount of people who said that they had watched it, and it was really enlightening to me to confirm a theory that I had told them because
the players watching it, like the real. Okay, gotcha.
Because it confirmed a theory that I had because I had told the guys that like, hey, these may not be super big winners for views, because some of the things that we were working with, title and thumbnail, it's like there's only so much you can do.
It's not like super sexy.
But I'm like, the people that are watching this are industry people, because that's the kind of person that watches this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And where our average video might be like over 50,000 views, these make like 20 to 30,000. So like I don't want them to get bogged down in the view count. It's like the quality of the view is good.
Yep.
Is the kind of person that watches 10 minutes. That is the kind of person that you want.
Let's talk stats real quick. I mean, you can talk about as little as you want, or open it all the way up. I don't care. From a statistic view standpoint, watch time, all that technical YouTube jargon, how did that perform? How did that series perform? Maybe 20, 30,000 views, but were the majority of people watching all the way through? I'm assuming that very much was the case.
So from a broad statistics standpoint, it wasn't very highly watched and it wasn't a very high view percentage, but the kind of people that would make it past the first, like for example, 1 minute would watch the whole thing.
Right. Now they're completely ingrained.
Yeah, and so it kind of pops up your analytics a little bit because it's very 2-dimensional. But if you look at the 3-dimensional analytics of the people that watch past the first minute and a half, they tended to watch the whole thing.
Well, and that's what it's, once again, coming back to marketing, that's what we tell our clients all the time is like, listen, we can get you in front of 1 million, 5 million people. Like that's easy. You can pay for that, whether it's through a creator or through dollar signs thrown out Facebook or whatever.
See the entire thing,
but if also depends on how you sell it too.
Right, but if they're not a potential buyer or someone who's actually intrigued or someone who watches all the way through, then it's not valuable at all. Then a million impressions means nothing. So that 20 to 30,000 people that watch all the way through is so much more valuable than if that video got 1 million.
Yeah, 100%. And just it was the caliber of people that were watching.
Right.
Like, for example, getting like the kudos of John Patton or somebody like that for watching it. It's like that's the sort of thing that's legitimizing. And honestly, we didn't really even do a good enough job, in my opinion, for Brass Valley 1. That it was one of those things where the idea for me was more important than the videos of the idea.
Sure. That's how it always starts, though.
Yeah, it was the first time I've ever done it. It was the first time we had done anything even remotely close to this because my ambition was like a reality show.
Right.
And I think that'll show through more in Brass Valley 2, which is coming this spring.
I remember feeling really bad for the camera guys because I was like, wow, they got to sit there through this entire thing while these guys are working and record everything.
And it's going to be, we're probably going to have 2 or 3 for Brass Valley 2. And it's just the editing is going to get long, but like we want to do a lot more like kind of cutaway office style interviews, kind of like they do in documentaries and
I love it.
Kind of in the moment that you think about. But I guess my number one priority was making sure that everything came together practically for the first time around.
Right.
So I think the potential's there.
I think you killed it. Well, I mean, the entire concept from. Ben and I have talked about it many times. Yeah. I mean, we've kind of we've thought about some ideas that have absolutely followed what you did. We have some marketing concepts that we'd like to bring about from what you took that leap and you did something really cool.
Well, I appreciate it. That's legit. That's
I mean, much respect because that's what it takes in order to not only motivate, but open your eyes to possibilities, to things that can work, that are outside the box. Mm-hmm. You took the leap and, you said, hey, I'm going to be the first one to try it. And now it's like, wait a minute, if he did it in this aspect, we can do it in this aspect.
Yep.
And, that's where I think it all kind of comes full circle to where we work together. And that's where I kind of want to touch on really quick that I think a lot of people don't understand this. People out there, especially on Instagram and meme pages and all this, you do something for the first time. I never understood this to why people want to knock someone's success.
Like you're putting yourself out
when I
there.
see my friends or when I see the people around me succeed, I am so fucking happy. Like when you're out there kicking, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so proud of him. And then I go back.
When your friends win, you win.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. Because then I'm like, wow, I want to work a little bit harder, or I'm going to take a little bit of what he did, and it's going to motivate me to do this. But yet, there's so many people out there that are like, they get fucking jealous of someone else's success. And I'm not saying flexing. I'm not saying, you be successful, you buy a Lamborghini, you shut up someone. Listen,
insecurity is cancer.
Right. If you bought,
Really?
Brandon, if you showed up here in a Bugatti, I would go, bro. Yeah, mother, move over. I want the keys. Let's have some fun.
No.
Like-
I got to give them back to the guy who owns it.
Right. But you know what I'm saying? If you did, if you came here in a Lamborghini and you bought that and you earned it, I would be so proud of you.
I'd be disappointed in me,
I
but
wouldn't
yeah.
be jealous. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
yet there's how many people that would, when you walk inside, they take a key.
What
and key it.
Yep.
Like that. And that stems back to the reality of what you did was a concept of you tried it. And we're proud of you, and I love it.
Well, I appreciate it because that's honestly one of the things that I think is going to be. I'll make a prediction because I've been making this prediction privately for a little while. So before I tried Brass Valley 1, I said that this is going to be the sort of thing that really shakes up the industry in about 2 years.
Yeah.
I said
I agree.
2 to 3 years because the first one is just enough for industry leaders, like the kind of people that are kind of at the very nose of that arrowhead.
People are
to
paying,
kind of
who are paying
notice.
attention, right?
The patents. Like, honestly, John Patton is good at a lot of things, but the number one thing, I think he's very good at seeing trends. I think he's very good at paying
100%.
attention.
Yeah.
And so, like,
what did he say with the Gundies? I mean, we're all sitting at this table for a reason.
We all had similar. He had a
Right.
similar idea.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
would love to get him on the show.
it's one of those things where, like, oh, that would be full circle, wouldn't it?
That would be.
Because just people that are paying attention, people are really like watching the trends and everything, start to see something go. Okay, and then the next time it happens, like let's say Brass Valley 2, that starts to make a little bit more waves. We're talking to SDI about sponsorship. We're talking to
Who?
BD, Sonoran Desert Institute.
Oh, this is STI. Sorry.
No, not
S-
SDI.
SD,
I was like,
D as in dog.
D. Okay, my bad.
We're talking to a couple people that like the brand image fits. It's like the kind of people that would be watching Brass Valley
Right.
that are interested in getting into the gun industry, gun design, gunsmithing, stuff like that.
Right.
To go for the Sonoran Desert Institute. I mean, like
oh, interesting.
the brand fit is there.
Right.
And so like there's so many opportunities like that. And okay, so year 2 it hits it off like that. And then for year 3, it's like this stuff snowballs. But that's the sort of thing that you're talking about legacy, coming back to that.
Right.
It's like I could sell 1,000 AKs in my life. I could sell 10,000 AKs in my life. Who cares? I could get to 3 million subscribers. I could get hit by a bus next week. Who
Right.
the knows? But if I can inspire the next generation of gun designers, gun people that have the next, 10 big ideas, that's where I belong. Because like that's the that I get teary-eyed about. Because like there's a couple people that I've talked to. There's a couple people that in Brass Valley and like that have ideas for their own, that want to do stuff, and I've just seen them explain to me that are their own projects, and it's like, this kid is squared away. Like this kid knows what he's doing. It's
That's
like
amazing.
this is like, I'm so fucking glad I gave you a chance. Like that's the shit that like if some random that I did off of an email or a Skype interview gave you a chance to run with this, where you didn't become some boring accountant that you kill yourself at 32 because you're miserable, and you actually pursue your dreams and do this and you're successful at it. That's a legacy.
Mission accomplished.
I have to say right there, you nailed Ben's original question of how you would answer what your legacy would be.
I
And
hope
guys,
that's my legacy. I really do.
I mean,
I
I
don't
don't
think-
know
I
what
don't think
more to
we can
say, and
talk-
I don't
yeah.
know where we can go from there. So I'm just gonna have to just go right into this and say, we really, really appreciate the time. We really appreciate you coming out. I thought
course.
this was an amazing conversation. We have paused this camera 3 times. We have gone over all times of a podcast that we could ever think.
Terribly
At the end
sorry.
of the day, this is a real conversation, and
For sure.
we're real friends. There's a lot of love and there's a lot of time on this table right here.
Yep.
So we were able to talk past an hour, and it wasn't just fake; it was real.
I think we're either
So-
closing in on 2 hours or
Right.
over 2 hours.
So,
Either way,
you
it was
know,
a great conversation.
Everyone that's listening, I hope you appreciate this because
If
at the
you've
end
made
of the
it this
day,
far.
this was real. So if whatever you can get out of this, just never say no. Always follow your passion and never give up, and make sure you kind of keep going. So Ben, any last words?
Guys, thank you so much for listening. Brandon, thank you for being here.
Thank you guys for having me. This
course.
is awesome. I always appreciate it. It's always fun to hang out.
Yeah, for sure.
Anytime.
Now we're gonna go
Well,
drink more off camera.
we are.
because it's now midnight.
We are.
No, I'm a praying man. There's no way I'm going to drink any alcoholic
No.
beverages off of camera.
Hey, let's cheers to that.
All right, there we
We're
go.
out, gentlemen.
See you later, guys.
We'll see you, sexy podcast mother lovers, in another podcast.